Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday show of Re-Caffeinated with Sparky, Pen, and Friends. How is everyone this morning?
Caffeinated.
Caffeinated. What about you, Jim Max?
I think he stepped away for a minute.
Well, okay. Okay, that's fine. Let me just open my monster here.
A different kind of caffeination.
Yep. Let's see who all we got in the chat. We got 6 people watching. That's a record for the start of a show. We got Jacob. You don't count Pin. One Slayer and Man Scratch.
Everybody heard it. Sparky says I don't matter.
You don't matter because you're in here with me. I'm talking about the type in chat.
Everybody heard it. Sparky says I don't matter.
Oh, don't go there. No, we're gonna talk about something interesting today.
Right, you're gonna talk about me behind my back as per usual.
No, we were actually gonna talk about fair use guidelines and Susie Lou.
Fair use guidelines.
And Susie Lou and some of the degenerates that's trying to say she is stealing content because I cannot find any thing that supports this. So
So we're going to banter on about Sargon and the Sargonites.
Actually, no, we're not. It's not about Sargon.
It has nothing to do with Sargon.
It's about somebody else. Unless you want to talk about Sargon, Rogue.
No, who is this regarding now?
No, it's we can talk about Sargon later on if we all want, but
No.
No, Rogue is.
You do not understand what I mean. I want to talk nothing about terms of services or anything like that because it has nothing to do with us for the most part.
Oh no! This wouldn't be talking about terms of service either.
Oh.
This is more about a.
This is just, I just want to bring up the 4 guidelines for fair use that the courts use. That's all I'm using. Okay. And talking about some of these people that's going after this YouTube
by the name of Susie Lou.
Thank you, Pen.
Yeah, I think that's I think we need to cut to the chase here because Rogue still seems a bit out of the loop here. There's this YouTuber by the name of Susie Lou who does anime reaction videos. Specifically, she's doing Naruto reaction videos where,
That's one of them. That's one of them. She's got about 4 or 5 different shows right now she's doing.
You keep interrupting me, sir.
Know your role and shut your hole.
Damn.
So she's doing these reaction videos, and there are people going around saying she's stealing content. She's stealing content. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. The sky is falling. Yet they will turn around because they flagged her first account into oblivion. So she started offloading all of her content to a second channel. And they're going now, see, she's still content stealing. Yet they're turning around and re-uploading her stuff and then claiming it, but we're doing it because of archive purposes.
Anywho, I'm not fully understanding this.
All right, well, maybe it's just me. Sparky, you could take it.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and readjust the screen here so we can see what I've got pulled up. So I've been following the.
Congratulations, Slayer.
Wow. Anyways, I've been following the what's been going on up on Twitter for a little bit now, and I've been.
God, we're talking about Twitter. I don't care.
Well,
he's
leave.
He's been following the events of what's been happening as it's being discussed.
Oh God.
On Twitter. Okay. Well, come on, Rogue.
Man,
go get your coffee and be good.
Yeah, Man Scratch.
Don't
like
coffee.
Masquatch, it is. We will be talking a little bit about Bo Blacks, Tipster, and a couple of the other people whose names escape me because they're not really that important to really bring up.
Most of the stuff that we have to deal with is not that really important.
Well, I mean, I want to talk about it, so.
Okay, so somehow it's important to you. Are you facing the same basic problem?
Yes and no.
No,
Because a couple.
You can't have a yes and a no. You need to have one or the other.
There's
no try.
Yes, because some of the content that's on my channel is of the same nature. No, because no one is railing up against me.
Okay,
Yes.
so,
because of it. Yet.
Okay, now the other question I have to ask you, because we know all of this is politically motivated, is this something to do with the factor that this particular person doesn't sit on the right camp and they feel that they should be ostracized based off of that factor?
Actually, I didn't remember seeing anything in regard to a political nature.
Motives have nothing to do with it. I think it's just because she is a successful YouTuber and these guys can't get their PP touch.
At the end of the day, if she's a successful YouTuber and she's got to deal with basic drama that every successful YouTuber has to go through, this really isn't a talking point.
Rogue.
Look, you can claim it as a talking point all you want, but every successful individual is going to have the same problem. There's always going to be somebody who's going to want more than the other.
Clout chasers.
Welcome
Pretty
to
much.
human nature.
We could still talk about human nature and hold these people up as a example of how not to be a shithole.
Actually,
no,
Foul.
Because, unfortunately, people do this on an everyday basis.
Yeah, and we have to keep reminding people on an everyday basis. Don't be an asshole.
They're going to do it on an everyday basis. What's the point?
Time out, guys. Val, if you want to jump in, because I know you know a little bit about this too, just hop in and I'll drag you into Robot Masters. No, it's just something I want to talk about because it has to deal with fair use, has to deal with copyright. That's one of the things I do like to go over on my channel and just cite examples and stuff like that.
Then please cite the example.
I will.
Supposedly, Rogue's volume is low, according to Winslayer.
Okay, well, I'll boost them up real quick.
I don't think Rogue needs much of a boosting.
Well, I boost them about 50%, so.
Not that kind of boosting.
And Foul says 1 second. But no, like I said, I can't remember how big her channel is, but she's been doing reactions for a while now.
Okay, and can we get down to the chase?
Look, Rogue, I try to be respectful on your shows. Please. Thank you. Anyways, when it comes down to fair use, you got two different ways you can look at it. You can look at it at a court perspective. You can look at it as a public perspective. With everyone who's like going after Susie Lou and stuff like that, that's pretty much just a public's perspective. And I can appreciate people's opinions, but when you're just outright trying to say that they're stealing content without any kind of proof or basis or anything like that, it's kind of weak.
Can we get to the get that you have some emotion, attachment to this, but taking that out of consideration, can we get down to the nitty-gritty, please?
Okay. Well, the 4 factors of fair use: the purpose and the character of use of your work, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount of substantial and portion taken, and the effect and use upon the potential market.
Okay, most of us know it.
well,
Do you
most
want
of
to
us
go
know
over
this.
it?
Yes, and there's a lot of people who
Then
don't know
do that.
So, the purpose and the character and use of the walk. So, Susie Lou is a reactionary channel. She takes anime that's been shown and she reacts to it and has some commentary to it. Mostly it's her reactions and just her talking about it. I've done the same thing on my channel. Difference is I have multiple people on my shows whenever I do it. About 3 to 6 of them, just depending on what show and how many people's in the room with me. Now, the walk can be considered a commentary or a reaction. The second, the nature of your copyrighted walk is basically just a reactionary version or just talking about it. The third, the amount of substantial the portions taken. Now, with mine, I usually show the entire
Okay, wait. Can we eliminate your show out of this problem?
Well, I think that's what he wanted to address was his show.
I gather, but if he's going to be talking about somebody else's problem and having him relate to it, kind of sounds egotistical. Let's focus on what the problem is. What is the problem with her doing a reactive channel based on anime?
Sorry, I'm a bit late here. I'm trying to figure out who are we talking about, the Sargon situation again?
No, we're talking about the Susie Lou thing that most people have an opinion on, yet know nothing about.
Like me, who the hell is Susie Lou?
Susie Lou is an anime reaction channel. And she's been gone after by a couple, I'm not going to say big channels, but like people like Tipster and some dog trailers like Bo Blacks and a couple others. Basically going after saying she's just re-uploading anime, having no reactions to it, having no commentary to it. It's basically a substitute.
The question
would
be, is she doing that?
No, she's not. I haven't found any
then we got to get
evidence.
back down to what is the actual grievance.
People being idiots.
Great. So if that's the case, then I'm an idiot, and I did not know about this.
I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of anime react channels. A lot of the times they don't really do anything. The most they do is they'll flip over the imagery and crop it down and maybe put like some sort of like animation watermark or something over top of it to try and get away from. I mean, that and then they'll just sit there and do nothing. They'll sit there and just sort of might laugh, might chuckle, might gasp. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if she was doing something like that, that doesn't sound like a big deal.
Well, she's not. She'll put not a watermark, but she'll transparent the video, and she's not even using the entire animation. She's using like her videos are like 15, 17 minutes long out of a show.
So it sounds like she's doing everything that everyone else is doing. Right?
Pretty much.
Who's filling around with paper? I hear it.
Well, you have somebody eating chips, and you have me cleaning out an office, so you tell me.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so it sounds like she's doing everything that everyone else is doing. So what's the problem?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. That's what I'm trying to get to the conclusion here. What is the problem?
I don't know what the problem is with everyone else. That's the point of talking about
it. The problem is that she's become a little bit more popular over the others, and they're a little upset. That's it. That's all I'm seeing.
Like there's that, and the fact I guess somebody criticized her of the group Tipster a year ago, and she ended up flagging him.
Okay,
that was like a big thing.
So it could be just people still salty over that.
Oh, okay, great. So this is more like an infight that has nothing to do with terms of service whatsoever, and they're just using that as a scapegoat. I love it. Sounds very mature.
It sounds like things being blown out of proportion. Doesn't sound like a big deal to me.
Yeah, and does it? I guess the point he's trying to get to is like, they had problems. People had problems with reaction channels like Jinx and just different things like that. And whether you consider this transformative enough or not.
Well, according
that
to
would be basically not you to decide that as an individual watcher. That would be based on the company who's actually allowing you their
actually no, that would be based on the courts. That would be based on the courts.
Well, no. Hang on. Two different factors here. The company itself that allows the space for you to upload your informative piece of work, your art form, onto their space. That's one person who gets to decide. The secondary person who gets to decide is the courts. So there's two different entities.
Well, technically, okay, so this is the way that as I understand it currently works. YouTube allows you to upload it so long as your video is not flagged excessively for mean words or certain keywords that the algorithm chooses.
Okay, so
Hold on.
again, I'm going to ask the question.
Hold on, I'm not finished. For right now, they automatically allow you to upload it until a third party claiming to be the copyright owner tells YouTube they are using my content illegally. In which case, they then.
All right, Pen, I'm not worried about. Was she using mean words?
No.
Okay, so did she upload a third-party member content?
Yes.
Whose?
Whoever owns the rights to Naruto or whatever these other animes.
Did those people complain about it?
No.
Then who is the person complaining about it?
Some additional third-party lowlifes who have
So we've got the first-party shareholder, we have the second-party shareholder, which is the original content creator, and then you have the third party who has nothing to do with it unless
technically they're bypassing it by the DMCA reporting system on YouTube is screwed up to begin with because anybody can claim to be the copyright holder, and the YouTube will take it down regardless.
Correct. We've all seen that, including myself. So, is this new?
No, it's just the same old bullshit.
Okay, so it hasn't changed. YouTube is still fucked up and broken, and we're still having an argument about it.
It's not necessarily having an argument with. Hold on. It's not necessarily having the argument about YouTube. We know it's broken. There's nothing we can do about it. It's, yes, complaining about idiots who abuse the system.
Them to abuse the system, and eventually the system will fix itself.
Or
I don't even think that these people are utilizing the DMCA. They're just trying to make a public uprising and disturbance out of it. That's basically.
Okay, are they doing a good job at it at least?
It got some
a very, very poor job.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I knew nothing about this, and I keep track on a lot of different major activities for the normal individual. So this seems like a niche thing.
You're normal?
No, I'm not normal. Well, I like to watch the normal individual. The reason of why I keep track on the marketing of the normal individual is so that, you could probably sell them, terrify them, make them do things that you want them to do.
Blackmail, so to speak.
Marketing 101.
Right.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? It's not blackmail, it's marketing?
It's always been marketing, Pen. You should know it.
All right. Well, let me turn over to Val. You know a little bit more about the whole situation. You wanna explain just a little bit more?
Well, there's a couple different channels they go over and have kind of gone after her with. It's just kind of like a thing where it's kind of a quantity thing. They're spread out like different channels, and they all kind of talk about the same people. So you get enough of an audience combined with all of them to, get a hate mob started.
So are we talking about the hate mob, or are we talking about the factor that this person is going against the basic terms of service? Because this is two different conversations.
I assume Sparky wants to talk about it just based off his experience of running a similar channel, and
I understand that plight, but this has nothing to do with him. It has more to do with the factor that this is a person who is experiencing a hate mob, And I don't think anybody can contest that dealing with a hate mob can be time-consuming, convoluted. But if you're going to try to chase this down with the basis of terms of service, which has nothing to do with hate mobs whatsoever, because for a hate mob, it's just another form of tactic. That's it. It's a tactic for them.
Well, they're using they're trying to use the terms of service and
Great.
copyright laws as a battering ram.
Great,
Yeah,
good.
and
Let them do
it's-
so, because that just makes it look bad for them in the future. Now, if this entire thing is just simply a hate mob going after a channel because the channel is successful, the conversation for a lot.
Okay.
And when I say a lot of people, I'm talking about pretty close to, I want to say, 5.6 billion people.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, it affects a small amount of people that are doing something similar, such as yourself there, Sparkles. But is this going to change your method of streaming?
No, it's not.
Okay,
For the
so if
simple
this
fact,
is not going to affect your method of streaming, and you're going to deal with hate mobs because you've already had to deal with a bunch.
yeah, just a couple idiots. That's about it.
Okay,
And
so
it's
how did you
essential,
manage
too.
that? How did you manage your way through the hate mobs on that one?
He made fun of them.
Pretty
Okay,
much,
so-
like I'm doing now.
Okay, so great. That you're just showing a tactic. All I'm trying to get down to the nitty gritty is there's a problem. Great. We can talk about the problem, or we can find a solution for the problem.
Okay.
So your solution for your problem at the time was pretty much make fun of the situation, make light heart of it. Good. That's the best way to do it. The other thing you
Okay.
can do is ignore it for the most part, because it shouldn't be a factor in your everyday life. The moment you make it an issue, you will then spend more time trying to resolve that issue, and you're going to waste all of your waking moments and time.
Actually, I would say that mocking them is a more effective use of your time, as well as achieving the same goal. Because if you just ignore them, they'll continue on for a little bit, and yeah, maybe they'll go away. But
Maybe they'll
they
go
are-
away. They tend to go away, Pen.
Nah, not this group, but
most
whether
of the
that matters or
time,
not.
most of the
said
time they
10.
go away. However, they're the only ones talking, and if they're the only ones talking, you can't counter what they're saying, especially if they're in whisper networks.
Correct.
However, if you mock them, you're kind of dragging them back into the sunlight and sticking them up on a pike and saying, "You're a dumbass, and here's for the entire world to see."
Okay, so has she done that?
No,
Okay, so if she hasn't.
She can ignore. I'm just saying there is a difference
she-
between the two different tactics.
Time out. She has a little bit,
Okay.
but she only does it in passing. Is like whatever. She
Alright, so
kind of uses it to her advantage.
Okay, so is she worried about this entire situation? What's happening?
No.
So long as her channel is not in danger. Which
No. Even if it's in danger, is she worried about it? Period.
I don't really think she is. The
Okay,
way
so
she's been reacting.
she's not worried
and-
about it, and the end of it is the creator themselves are like, okay, we're done. You can talk to whatever you want, and nothing's going to happen. You want to take me to court? Great, you can take me to court, and the court's going to find me and find the situation in my favor over you. Great, so we can continue down this rabbit hole, and I can make more and more contested challenges to probably win and continue to win to a point where you're going to hate me winning. So here we are, the end of the talking point. What have you learned?
Only because you want it to be the end, so we'll just go ahead and move on to a talking point because
all right,
I'm
I
not
got a
gonna
talking
argue
point.
and fight.
Unless you have something else on Unless you have something else of more importance on the docket, Sparky.
Well, I think that the point is that Rogue doesn't want to talk about this. He's going to kind
No,
of
Yeah.
this makes
flip through it
no
and
sense to
talk
at the
over
end of the
everyone
day.
until it's over, which is
Oh.
fine. Like
Look, what
to
new
listen
thing?
to it,
What new thing you got to bring to the table that
Well-
people are interested in?
well, I think Sparky wanted to, like I said,
Yeah, I just
give
want
his
to talk
thoughts
about it.
on
That's
but-
about it. But I can't be doing my own show, so we'll go ahead and just move on to another talking point. You have something?
It's
Ray?
your show. You can talk about it.
Really, I can?
Dude, is it your show?
I believe it's my show.
Then you tell me to shut the fuck up, and you just talk. Or, better yet, like most people do, talk over me.
Wait a minute. When has anybody ever talked over you, Rogue?
I'm looking at her.
I mean, besides me. Because apparently I'm nobody of great importance, so.
Oh,
I'm
you're
only
very, you're a very great importance, Ben. You're really, really great importance. I mean, you're the comic relief.
Oh, thanks. Makes me feel so much better.
I ain't messing with you, Ben.
I know you are. Hence the comic relief part of it. Damn it. That's all I'm good is for pratfalls. Anyways.
No.
Do you want to say any...
Go ahead.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything else more on this? The moral of the story, the more you know, kind of closing. And any other thoughts you want to get out on this, Sparky? And
well, the moral of the story.
I'll tell Will to shut the hell up.
Well, thank you.
But there is a topic I'd like to bring up after this because it still pertains to YouTube itself.
Well, please
Okay.
don't talk about the Sargon thing.
Shut up.
Is it the Sargon thing?
No, it actually is not Sargon.
Okay. Because I don't even know what's... Oh, if you're talking about the monetization, it's like... We all knew that was going to happen.
You're talking about the Copa thing that I sent you?
Oh, yeah, I guess we can talk about that afterwards. No, the...
well, I guess we can talk about... I like that. It's like, he didn't even look at the actual...
No, I looked at it. It's been a couple days since I actually looked at it. It's a new bill that the Democrats are trying to pass in court. But
we are talking with the Democrats.
Yeah.
What are the likelihood of them actually passing something?
Slim
well,
to
actually,
none.
this one was introduced into this. This is from a senator, so I think it was introduced into the Senate, where the Republicans hold a majority. But it's still kind of.
Again, what's the likelihood of them actually passing it at this moment?
In an
Just asking a
election year, if McConnell doesn't bring it forward,
I doubt he will.
we got a 50% chance, I think.
50%. Okay, but are you sure on that one?
No, I'm not. But that's
okay,
just
so
it. Any percentage chance of it passing is too much.
I doubt it's going to pass. I don't even think it's going to be a talking point because it's so close to an election year.
Well, actually, technically, the only reason why COPA passed was because it was basically already reinforcing something in existence. This is something new, and I'd like to hope that it kind of expands one additional law.
All you care about is the fact, since I've read this thing, is that it might hold certain individuals accountable for, such as maybe a company. But unfortunately, all they have to do is pretty much shut everything down and move on to a different project, and then you have nothing.
I read a little bit about it, and it's just I really don't see it passing.
Stop.
We're-
Sparky,
What?
any closing thoughts on the Susie Lou thing, and then we could actually introduce this topic properly so that our audience knows what we're talking about.
Thought we were
Okay.
I'm giving
this is
Sparky the courtesy to finish.
He was supposed to finish.
All right. The closing thoughts I have on the whole deal is if you're gonna accuse somebody of selling content, have some back that up with proof of evidence. Especially if you're gonna try to go after somebody, slander them, anything like that. Because the simple fact, the whole argument I've seen, the purpose I want to bring up is laughable and it's easily proven wrong. That's the whole entire reason of just bringing it up. Is like it's so easily proven wrong.
Okay.
All right. Do you need me to send you the link of what I was talking about so that we can bring it up?
I got it right.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I've got to look in the DMs.
You could just remind him where it is.
I could just send it to him again. Here you go.
No, I got it right here.
Happy. I just sent it to you again.
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
Good. All right. Do you want me to? Can everybody see the title?
I saw the
Copa.
title. Can we get to? Can we kind of wrap that one up in a nice little typo so that people will understand it?
Burying the lead, COPA author, Senator Ed Markey. God damn it, why does every asshole have to be named Markey? Introduces KIDS, Kids Act, targeting sponsored content and unboxing videos. This, of course, this doesn't just apply to YouTube. It's also will also apply to Twitch as well. And TikTok and Snapchat.
I have a whole different issue on TikTok. You guys should be removing it completely because the Chinese own it and they're spying on you using your own data.
I don't use TikTok. I don't use Snapchat.
Yeah,
I barely use it.
I have a Snapchat, but I don't even use it. So
Okay. So and TikTok is only about say 12 seconds long, I believe. Somewhere in the same idea as Vines, and
Yeah.
You can't do shit with that.
Well, you could, but you have to be very
You
smart
won't be
about
able to do
keeping
an
it less
unboxing
than.
with that. Sorry.
You could. Again, you could if you're very
How?
clever. If you're very clever. 10 seconds. Oh, new box. This thing, and this thing, all in this box. Buy it.
I could unbox something in 10 seconds, but I can't do like a review, like a reaction. I'm just like,
Yeah, you're not gonna be. Unboxing reaction not gonna happen. So
No. But all right. So starting from the first paragraph, Ed Markey, the Democratic senator who wrote the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act (COPA), has co-introduced a new bill that, if passed, don't fucking do that on purpose.
No, I'm actually continue. I'm trying to clean the office.
Would force platforms with users under the age of 16 to radically alter the way they operate. As children and teens increasingly spend their time on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Snapchat, Congress has yet to implement any safeguards that protect young people's well-being in the current digital media environment. Markey and fellow bill co-writer Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat from Connecticut, said in a statement. I can boil that down to, won't somebody please think of the children?
Okay.
Again.
Can we again like the other one? Can we get down to a nitty gritty so people can understand it? Can you explain it to them like they were a 6-year-old?
All right. If passed,
should we do
bill
that?
would basically.
To sound awkward, should we really explain it like we're talking 6-year-olds?
Yes,
Oh,
because
yeah, by the way, if
unfortunately,
you're under
most
the
of the
age of
average
18, get the
individual that
fuck off.
understands it is up to about a grade 6 level, or at least a 6-year-old level.
Okay.
Well, 6-year-olds and 6th graders are two different things. Never mind. I misunderstood what you said.
Comprehension and attention span are two different things. Comprehension, grade 6, comprehension span.
how many cups of coffee have you had this morning?
Who? Me?
No, Rogue.
I don't drink coffee.
You just seem a little overly irritable today. Is all I'm getting at.
I'm irritable most of the day.
I know, but I mean, in the times I granted, we don't stream very often.
Very good. So you don't know the amount of irritability I can possibly give you.
Well, give me is one thing,
idea.
but what you're projecting seems to be like you seem very irritable right now. Like get to the point, go.
Well, the idea is get down to the chase because of the factor that most people, even in a business perspective, would like to know exactly what you're trying to sell them and get a grasp on how this would affect.
That's why we're going over the article.
Granted, sometimes things can, go on. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To break it down just a
Thank
little
you.
bit more, this would basically force platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Snapchat, TikTok, and whatnot to disable certain features that basically gamify the platform. Upvotes, likes, autoplay, push notifications, even memberships, and features that if you are like a subscriber that you get special little rewards for being a subscriber. So like, tier 1, 2, and 3 Twitch subscribers, you get the badges. Yeah, if passed, this would basically force Twitch to eliminate giving badges for.
Look, I don't use the badges in the first place, so we
just
have the
because you
ability to
don't.
give no, Ken. We have the ability to give up badges. Have
know
we
we
used
do.
that feature?
We haven't, but that doesn't mean that others don't. It doesn't mean that 95% of the rest of the platform don't. People like using the custom badges.
We have a lot of algorithms that push other channels ahead of us.
Yeah.
And so this does do some good things, but it does a lot of bad.
How exactly are the badges a threat to the children? That's the important
It's
thing, right?
supposedly that you're enticing them to buy into something and you're using a carrot on a stick to entice them to spend money on the platform.
Okay, great. Basic marketing tools. Okay, got it.
Works.
Yeah.
Too many people talking at once. What?
It's basic marketing tool. Basic marketing 101. So this person doesn't understand marketing?
No, apparently not. Max, you said something?
I said basically just basic marketing.
Okay, so you and Ro basically said the same thing.
Yeah.
They're going to basically make all marketing illegal. So good luck to that.
Well, in addition to that, there's two other things that are at risk. Basically,
What is the other things?
Sponsored content.
Okay.
So anybody who does sponsorships with like the VPNs or
and the other one.
And don't rush me, Rogue. The second thing would be the unboxing, which was basically mentioned before, because supposedly to these two senators, it's considered as host selling.
Well, here's the key word, Ken. It's ages of 16. So this isn't going to affect Twitch or DLive because they've already mentioned Mixer because they've already said we're working with the 18 plus crowd.
Correct.
But that's just it. This might affect them only because places like just using YouTube as the blanket example, YouTube cannot differentiate between a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Actually, it can.
If they are using an account of somebody, here's the thing: they're trying.
Stop.
Hang
on. They've already proved it. No, they've already. YouTube has already proved that they can. They don't want to.
No, here's the thing. They cannot tell if a 13-year-old is using an account of somebody who is over the age of 18.
In which case, that's the parents' fault, not YouTube.
But they are attempting to hold YouTube responsible for that. Not
there's already a law that says they can.
Yes.
I mean, there's literally already a law that says they can't do that, and this.
Well, that's why they're trying to.
Law. They have to appeal that law first.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what this bill sounds like, it's going after everything else that the original Copper Act doesn't go against, because what's been brought up so far are the features that, how can you say, the Copper Act, if the way YouTube's implementing it, if it's for children, it disables these features. If it's not children, it doesn't enable these features. These features are enabled.
And I'm sorry, I thought 13-year-olds were allowed to own their own credit cards. Therefore, the implication being that they can make their own financial decisions.
Technically, they're not supposed to, Ben.
Yeah, they're not supposed to. But
there's nothing stopping them from owning one, technically, except for the law. And unfortunately, your laws are a little all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What this sounds like is it's like a final nail trying to go after what Copper can't fully go after for everyone else.
I don't
That's
know.
what
To
it
me,
sounds
it sounds
like.
like the do-nothing Democrats trying to find something to do while they're waiting to find out who's going to be the next person
President.
that's going to lead them.
Yeah.
That's it. A lot of busy
Possibly.
work from the Democratic side.
Well, what exactly do you think this is aiming to do? Because I'm not sure if it's really just trying
If I
to.
was to have her to guess, I really think this is an attempt to kill independent creators because independent creators are taking money away from the established broadcasting networks.
I'm gonna try to work in that vein as best I can there, Pen, because I have a big.
I know you have a
That's the
different.
doubt.
I'm putting a I am generalizing it
Yeah.
because let's be honest, YouTube or whoever is putting the pressure on YouTube has been for a long time trying to kill off independent content, especially since the majority of independent content,
Yeah,
the
I
ones
know.
that get the
Established media
sponsorship and
has.
everything,
Yeah, established
go
media
against
has been in control for a while. We know that.
it goes against the overall narrative.
Yeah, but the problem with the established media is now they're becoming like the new media. You've noticed that, right? They decided to have their own streaming services, and some of them who have been considerably new have bought up these establishments, and now they're working their way into these little programs, such as Microsoft, who's been around for a while and is considered an established media. They bought up a streaming service. They call it Mixer now. Yeah, I have a very hard time digesting that thought process just on the basis and knowing the tactics that the established media will do. Yeah, they're going to put out hit pieces one after the other in hopes that something will stick. Then after realizing that won't stick, they will try to bring out whatever government stooge that's going to work.
Well, here's
But
the
if it doesn't,
stooges.
hang on. But if it doesn't happen as quickly as they would want it to happen, because this should have happened a decade ago. This bill that you're talking about should have happened 10 years ago.
It didn't, because you want to know why? Obama at the time was still in office. The Democrats controlled.
So, regardless. No, because Obama had the same basic talking points.
It sounds like you only partially agree, but for different reasons, for things that we might not be aware of, you being somebody who worked in industry, Rogue.
Right.
So you're not saying I'm technically wrong, but you're not saying I'm
It's
right.
just you're looking at it from a wrong perspective.
Pointing in the right direction. But
the direction is they're slowly taking over the new media, while their stooges are 10 years behind fucking them over.
Hey, you know what? Off topic. You remember my channel got hit with copyright back Tuesday?
Your channel got hit by a copyright for a reason?
because
yeah.
I was restreaming the
Democrat debates.
No,
How
it was the
dare
Democratic
you
primary. It was the
primary.
Dare you, Pat?
Yeah,
Allow
I
Sparky
remember that being a thing.
Well, no,
I didn't tell Sparky to stream.
No. You enticed him to restream your shenanigans, and he, innocent white boy,
Actually, he
got hooked up
he was encouraging me to stream.
I know it.
Before I even hit the button.
Alright, so here's the whole reason why I was doing it. Because I wanted to make fun of him. Because while Bernie Sanders' supporters were going, yay, raving of science, I was sitting here playing this music, especially when Bernie came out. This is what I was doing.
The communist.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
I don't think that's copyrightable.
I don't think they even use that song anymore. So yeah.
No, it's not that. CBS copy struck me
for the song or for just the upstream.
For the upstream.
Yeah, that was something that happened. One of the more recent ones, or one of the first ones to. What was his name?
Well, the point I'm bringing up is it got resolved It's the copyright's off of it.
Yeah,
That's a
happened to
lot
David
quicker.
Patman.
That's a
never
lot
heard
quicker
of
than I
him.
thought it was gonna happen.
It's not going to be the first time. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. So I expect more in the that fight.
But the video's back
To
up.
talk about.
Oh, what's the more important thing that you want to talk about?
Crazy old guy brings dead raccoon into McDonald's because San Francisco.
What? Okay, that's weird.
All right,
I like
well,
weird.
time out.
That's weird.
All right, time out. Let's finish this one up, and then we'll go on to that one.
I'll send you everybody a link to the video.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. San Francisco, California is just going to become more and more and more of a shithole.
Well, we can talk about that right now, or we can end what you were trying to plead here, there, Pen.
Well, I mean, there's not much other than reading over the actual bill, which it's 14 pages long, which can probably be done separately. It is something to keep a watch on, and to definitely encourage your, if you live in the United States, encourage your senators to vote no on.
No, please vote yes on, because I want to see the future of the new old established media taking over the new established media, being fucked over by their own shit. Please.
I know that you're an agent of chaos, Rogue, and while it might be funny to watch it burn, just
no. You're missing out the main point here, Pat.
Am I?
Yes. You're forgetting that I mentioned old media is slowly taking over the new media.
I didn't miss that.
Okay. Now, if their old idea comes up and smacks them in the back of the head, it's not going to affect the new media. It's going to be affecting the oligarchs that control everything.
I get what you're saying. I'm more concerned about the overreaching of this. Wouldn't just affect YouTube. I guess it wouldn't affect BitChute either, because they're UK and that law wouldn't apply to them.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's still the ever choking out of the. It wouldn't kill independent content creation, but it would effectively cripple exposure.
Nah, I don't think it would.
The other thing I'm curious of is, so when I read that, I thought maybe it was to try and something more like along the lines of like labeling unboxing videos, for instance, for adults. Is that do you think that's more where they're getting at, or do you think they actually want to try to take the ability to even host some things like that and badges and all this stuff off the platform completely?
I think at the end of the day, they don't even know what the hell they're doing. And their conclusion is unboxing video bad, and that they don't know why it's bad, and they're going to try to
have to get rid of it anyways.
Yeah, because we were told that we need to get rid of it because these things are hurting our money. No, it's hurting our money, so we need to get rid of it because.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're using the children as a shield.
Right, everybody uses the children as a shield. Don't you know? Anybody that's got a degree of ethical background, they always use the children as a shield.
Hey, Maddie.
Where's Maddie? In the chat?
In the chat.
Hi, Maddie.
But let's get back to the San Francisco and dead raccoon.
Okay, well, I've got it brought up right now. And let's go ahead and expand it, and let's watch this.
It looks like it's gonna be appetizing. We're gonna have to, watch some cues off of this jump.
This motherfucker crazy. They ain't gonna bring it in there where the food at. Nigga, you so
your country's messed up to allow this to happen.
This motherfucker put the raccoon on the table.
I would say California is a separate country at this point.
Again, United States of America, you're all united on the foolishness that you guys provide.
I say we trade California for Mexico.
Look at this
you would have to talk to the Mexicans on that one.
Wow, this motherfucker bring a dead ass.
I think they'd be willing to agree. There, we bring in the immigrant. We bring in the entire
This
country of
nigga
Mexico.
crazy,
They
boy.
just
I
put the dead
tell
raccoon
you,
on the table.
only in San Francisco.
Well,
Why does the guy in the video sound like Uncle
Motherfucking
Ruckus?
San Francisco.
Because it probably is.
Nigga trying to come get him something to eat before he go to work. Look at this
Now the
bullshit.
entire place has to be closed and
This motherfucking
sterilized.
dead, the motherfucking his ass over there.
Because who knows what the fuck is on that raccoon?
He brought him in
For that matter,
this
who knows
motherfucker
what the
right
fuck is
here.
on the person
Boy, I done seen it all. Somebody
who
need
brought
to call
in the raccoon.
911 on this dumb
Though
ass.
wow.
He gonna bring a dead ass motherfucker raccoon.
I don't play
Are
that.
we sure it's? I'm gonna be very cynically optimistic here. Are we sure it's not just sleeping?
Right here.
We know
It's
it's
a
not
really
sleeping.
dead
I like
sleep.
the guy over there. He's like, "What the fuck just happened?" I was just in the toilet. I gotta go. Where now?
Maybe this person has rabies because the raccoon finally died because it succumbed.
This nigga need to go to jail.
Who knows? That this makes no logical sense.
Yeah. Well, again, we
It's
don't-
drooling on the table. Yeah.
Well, what's ever left, it's
Of its
pulling
brains.
out. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's brain matter. That's brain juice. If it is alive.
Yeah.
All the guy has to do is keep a good, steady shot so I can see what the fuck the raccoon is doing. Please. Steady shot. Don't move. You're moving.
Liquid. Yeah, I know. Liquid coming out of its mouth.
Yeah, I think it might be brain matter. Looks like he got hit with the with said vehicle. I didn't see any chest going up or down, so no compression. So I would say that's a beautiful moment in time.
Ugh, I want to shiver.
All it is, all it does is prove that your experiment is going wrong.
It's not our experiment. It's whatever experiment the
Hey, the founding fathers created this. It's your experiments. You guys inherited this.
The experiment works when you have sane people behind the wheel.
Oh, well, now the experiment is not working. Yeah, may want to
because there's nobody sane behind the wheel in California.
You may want to reconsider the united portion of the United States.
No, we just need to figure out who the hell to kick out. I swear we could
I
take
think I have
Puerto
an idea
Rico this point and leave out California, and it would fix about 50% of the problems that we have. We could also get rid of not the entire state of Illinois, but we could definitely get rid of Chicago and Detroit, and we'd be good.
I think we should burn it down to the ground and start all over from scratch.
So literal nuclear option?
Yeah, glass it and start over, you know.
Mandy says, California.
Yeah. California. Because you know, the communists do not exist in California like Charles Mazza.
Communists
so
detected on American soil.
Yeah.
It's so funny that they accuse everybody that you don't like of being a Russian bot. Of as if to say Russia. What are you accusing people of being? Oh, because the Russians are commies. Yet you guys are socialists and commies.
Yeah, I mean,
you know who else was a socialist? Stalin.
You know who else was a socialist? Hitler.
No, he was.
Mao.
I kind of have to be careful with. He was more of a feudalist, but he hated socialists.
Yeah, but National Socialism. Guess what that stands for?
Yeah, but he wasn't for the working man. If anything, the entire government would have had total control over everything. Socialist is supposed to be for the working man, and giving them labor up to a certain point for the government to regulate where that labor is supposed to go.
I think
That
it's
is
so
the two different
funny
things.
that these people literally think there's a difference between National Socialism and democratic socialism.
No,
Well,
there
yeah,
might be.
it definitely is.
Hitler was voted into office, don't you know? They did
Yeah,
through
you
the
know that.
democratic process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well-
So everyone that gets elected is Hitler.
Well, 30, I think it's like 32.
No, everybody who's a
yeah,
socialist is
32 to
Hitler.
33% of the
Hitler.
actual voters voted for Hitler. He took over office because they went into war. He then changed the system because at the time frame they were about to go through another voting process. He's like, well, we can't do this while we're in the middle of war. People agreed. They went, well, after the end of the war, we'll go back to voting.
That's not how the war ended.
Regardless, the war ended, right? They're all voting again.
They
no.
think they're voting. I don't know who keeps voting in for Merkel, but holy fucking shit!
Actually, Merkel is a very popular person, and she has a low percentage when it comes down to the ruling class. Unfortunately, you may, unlike your team of two, the rule of you either pick one or the other. Places like Canada, Germany, and a few others have multiple different areas to choose from. So you can
But
have
that-
up to 5 different parties.
But that's just it.
which-
It's not necessarily okay. It seems like that. Fine. But it's because of idiots like vote blue no matter who. It's like,
Yes.
no, how about you vote for whoever you think should be your representative?
But
If you
unfortunately,
voted
how many-
for who you think should be your representative, you could easily dismantle the two-party system. Here's the thing. They do it because they think that the opposition is going to win. They gang up like that because of that fear. And I promise you, Democratic Party is basically going to die after this election. If people start rallying around a different party or two, yes, it looks like we're a two-party system because of the two primary parties that have been in power for a long time. But they are not the only parties that make it to the ballot.
Oh, I won't contest that. I
I'd-
will always kind of go back on the idea that it always been somebody from the flag red or the flag blue running the show.
I'd like to see.
Even when you have an independent, they tend to join one of those two incumbents, red or blue.
If they're actually running as a separate independent party, they don't. If they're trying to run on the main party ticket, like in this case with Bernie or Sanders, they'll end up
Bernie
giving
or
up.
Sanders. Not Bernie Sanders. Bernie or Sanders. I love this. There's two like two.
Biden.
Yeah.
Biden, yeah, Biden or Sanders. That's what I meant to say.
All right. So what were you trying to say, Val?
Oh, I was letting them finish that, but
Sorry, pal.
I just don't think there's going to be like a big, huge change from a two-party system. I just don't see that happening. I'd love to see that happening. I'd actually prefer it, but I think the Democrats are where the Republicans were in 2012, where the 2008 election, they put out McCain, and he was kind of like a watered-down George Bush, and the country just wasn't buying it. And they didn't really go to any extremes. They put out like another, just a wishy-washy, it was Mitt Romney, and that really didn't bring anybody out. And it was until like Trump actually ran that, and that wasn't even something the
new,
Republicans wanted.
something fresh, somebody who will actually speak their mind.
Yeah, because I think
And
both sides, I think they want something
Yes.
different than what they've had, and it's Obama ran on change. I don't really think he changed much, but
No, he didn't. I mean, if he did, he made it
changed a
worse.
few things, but he wasn't able to change a lot of things because even with those 8 years that he had several decades of war that he had to clean up first.
The first two, I think it was for the first 2 years, it was basically Democratic House,
Yes.
Senate, and White House. Then midterms came around, we gained some Republican seats. Then basically all for his second term was all Republican seats.
So yeah, he couldn't do much when it came down to the rule change. Like I said, a couple of decades of war, as well as Penn pointed out, as I was going to go into, the restructuring of the caucus in general makes it very difficult for any seated president or anybody in power to do anything.
And quite honestly, I think we've basically achieved a different marketing tactic for the right. This is something that Bill Whittle, yes, I listen to Bill Whittle, has,
How dare you?
I know, has purported for a couple of years now that the right needs to change its marketing. It needs to become a marketable, the principles that we stand for need to be marketable. And I think it just took somebody breaking down the walls like Trump to actually get that message through. Because if you have just another big wig saying the same thing over and over again as his predecessors, you're not reaching anybody new. You're not making the Constitution attractive. You're not making conservatism attractive.
Here, I could tell you the main reason why I voted for Trump. And yes, I voted for Trump.
How dare you?
He pissed off both sides.
That's true.
why
I did enjoy that.
Yes,
like
he
I
did.
said, he's a Democrat that got elected by Republicans.
Actually, here's a weird thing about Donald Trump. He is a Democrat up to a certain point, a reformer, and then an independent. So he's three different parties rolled into one.
He's he's the middle ground, and right now people prefer the middle ground. We don't want to go too far right, but we've been definitely going too far left, and people don't like it. So then, if you keep going left and left and left, of course everything that's in the middle looks like it's far right. No, it's just you keep moving all the way over here, and we've never really moved.
But
Yes,
anyways, as Sparky was going to say before we interrupted him.
Sorry.
No, that's the only thing I was gonna chime in about. The only reason why I voted in for Trump is because both sides hated him. He pissed off both sides, and it was a change.
He was a mover and a shaker.
Pretty much.
Well, he is an entertainer, so there's that.
Yeah, I'd probably be the same reason why I vote for him again coming up. Because he pisses both sides off.
Can we just observe and appreciate something for a moment? Trump does not need votes at this point. He's basically, I wouldn't say he's running unopposed, but all of these other smaller guys like this Joe Walsh, whatever his freaking name is, Trump does not need voters to go out for him in these primaries. But they're turning out in numbers to vote for him anyways. In some cases, in some of these primaries for like Super Tuesday and before, they're turning out in the same numbers, if not more.
Yeah, but I don't think Trump ever really ended his campaign.
No, he goes
the
to
moment
rallies
he took
almost
office,
every
he just
weekend.
continued doing rallies. So, like a good businessman, keep that marketing tool going. So yeah,
I just think it's funny. Like in Colorado, he outperformed all of the votes for the Democrats. It doesn't matter who it was, all of them.
Well,
at least 200 times.
All it does is shows the Democrats when they look at the actual stats right in front of them that it doesn't matter who they put up in front. They're pretty much a dying breed. They need to get their house in order.
They don't want to. And
it's
especially
not the fact that they don't want to. They have. Well, it's not the fact that they don't want to. It's who is going to lead going forward. Pelosi's checked out. So you have no real leader in that group deciding on the new direction that they're going to go into.
Actually, for as long as this keeps going, let them keep setting themselves on fire.
Pretty much. Because House Bernie is fighting with House Biden at this moment, and both of them belong to the same bloody party.
Oh, there was a message that Bernie came out with where he's like, if Joe Biden wins, I will support him. It's like, you're doing the same mistake, Bernie. You're doing the exact same thing that you did for Hillary. You know what they're going to do? Whatever votes that you've gotten, Bernie or bust, whatever delegates you've gotten, they're just going to flip and they're going to give it to Joe anyways. You're rolling over, and this is why nobody supports you except for a couple of lunatics.
Wow, he is a fascinating individual, and I definitely want to make sure he gets all the pudding cups that he can possibly eat. But
And AOC is close to losing her seat or having her seat basically erased.
yeah, well, again, I mean, like a certain Pelosi said, all you have to do is get a tall drink of water, slap "My name is Democrat" on it, and pretty much anybody will vote for it.
I don't know. I
Again,
get confused
she's
by
in
some
a
of that.
heavily blue state.
Isn't that rather insulting? I mean, yes, people are that dumb. But isn't that rather insulting that
Guys, hold on a second. My sound just went down.
I don't know. I was even worried about like what Trump did with
And we're back.
Good. Continue.
with Julian Assange. So I mean, that's it's not exactly like liberty is alive and well in both parties. And again, obviously, the bill we were talking about being passed is being pushed by the left. I can't even for the life of me understand why. It's I grew up being on left. I was kind of shit like that seemed like something that I was completely against. So I don't even know what this party is anymore.
Well, that's the point. You need to get your houses in order before you can go forward to fight whatever battle that you have to deal with. I mean, it is difficult when you have one side that has a new leader, a new direction, and pretty much hunkering down on the values that they hold dear, whereas the opposite, who is supposed to help contest and keep everything on an even, ground, is becoming more and more extreme to a point where there's infighting and they don't know what they are.
Yeah, I think a lot's changed. One of the big things that like really burnt me was like I don't know that I really buy Trump trying to pull the troops when he did a year ago, a couple months ago. Feels like a year ago. Because then next thing you know, we're almost starting another war. But at the same time, it was the left that kind of seemed to block that. And the left have been talking about getting out of the Middle East for 20 years, and suddenly, well, Trump wants to, so it's a bad idea now.
Well, the left
make
also was
sense.
talking about putting up a border fence and putting more funds into ICE. And then when
Yeah.
Trump says, "Hey, we got to do this," they're like, "Oh no, that's racist."
Yeah, that was actually weirdly enough something Biden said. He called it offense, but there was something he said and talked about drug dealers coming over and all this. Pretty much the same stuff Trump said, but you know,
Again, all of a sudden, Trump says it, and it's
Well,
Orange Man bad.
Well,
well,
there
not just
was
well,
the
it could have been any Republican saying that, and you would have had the same effect because of the fact it wasn't a certain team talking about it and going forward on the idea.
I don't know. Trump is like a special breed of like I said, there's issues where I agree with him and disagree with him on.
Which is
And
fine.
I'm willing to just say, like, okay, I agree with him on this. And I see all these other people that are just like, oh, well, Trump said it. So it's
Yeah.
insane how far we've gone towards, like,
Well,
Trump, no matter what he does, it's wrong.
Like Maddie,
there is
like
a Trump deranged syndrome that most of you guys are experiencing, and I find it fascinating being again an outsider watching this, and it's strange because you're listening to the same talking points, the same values that a decade ago what was on the table and being danced around and couldn't be completed because the houses, inner houses, were trying to get their shit in order. Now that everything is kind of settled and everybody's in their place for a while, you get back to the original conversation and you have a new person fronting it. It's the same talking points,
you want to
just
know
a
what I
different.
think has changed the table so much on this?
Go ahead.
Everybody has a smartphone.
Yeah.
At any moment's notice, if somebody is acting inappropriately or says something dumb, they're being recorded. And that information is being shared within seconds of it happening. Now, there are certain organizations, particularly in media, who don't want that information getting out and being shared. But they can't stop it. And the Streisand effect kicks in and it just spreads more. This is why what Project Veritas is doing is very important. It's why I'm not
No.
just Veritas. That's what some of these people are doing when they go up to ask certain questions to these Democratic candidates, such as with Warren. Hey, I do the right thing and I take on a second job to pay for my daughter's college. If you're saying free college for all students, are you going to give me my money back? And she just laughs at him and says no. Well, it's like, well, then there shows the hypocrisy. You're rewarding bad or poor behavior while not giving a break to those who do it the correct way. The same thing with Kamala Harris. Tulsi calls her out on her prosecution of her past prosecution practices, and then people continue to hammer her on it on camera. And Biden's gaffes and Sanders' gaffes. Okay? If only the media was in charge, if only the current established media was in charge of sharing information, how much of this bullshit would get filtered out and we wouldn't see these candidates for who they really are.
I don't know because you're saying you have two different types of media that are running within your structure right now. I unlike Canada, where it's one media that runs everything and everything else is based off of word of mouth or we see things a little differently. You guys have two separate media, one for the left, one for the right. Up here, one media controls everything. And if you don't oblige by that, you're going to be, your feet are being held to the fire.
I think part of that is because somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the reason why the media has split the way that it has is because back one of the first things that Obama did when he got in office was got rid of a rule or clause that said you have to give equal airtime to opposing views. So now, with that rule gone, MSNBC can basically say Orange Man bad all day and never
Yeah,
have
and
to.
Fox can say exactly the same thing, but
Exactly.
they haven't. Which is very fascinating. They've been hiring more people that have dissenting points of views. So,
Well, it's
Right.
either that or go into the trash because.
but regardless, it seems very, because they've been doing that practice for a while, because they hired Cenk Uygur, who wasn't a very staunch Republican, so much so that he jumped fence because he saw where the actual writing on the wall was and where the business money is.
Mhm.
TYT, good example of that.
Speaking of which, he's in trouble now for supposed
I'm not
busting.
surprised.
Well, here's the thing. He was sucking. He was started sucking Trump's cock so much that he didn't notice that they were going to fuck him over.
Yeah,
That's what's happening on here. I mean, that's what's going on here. They see where the money is, but it's like now we got to start sucking his cock because that's where the money is.
yeah. And when it comes back down to it, they focus too much on one aspect and not realizing the overall because I remember this is going back, and I know it was CNN, and it was during, I guess, one of your desert occupations that you wanted to do. I think it was Desert Fox or Desert Storm. Doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the on-hand reporter that was running with the actual platoon going into war, the insurgents itself, he was very loyalist. It's like I'm going to be very pro for my country when we're going to war. I'm not going to counter any point. So it's like, this is CNN automatically choosing a side, even though that side could be wrong.
Yeah, true.
So I've seen it. Unlike, Fox, which is kind of being wishy-washy. Yeah, it's got a lot of old timers that have been there watching said program, but they've been trying their best to explore both sides of the, not trying to give them a lot of kudos or praise here, but they try their best to give two different points of views. Where on one side of the fence, I've always seen it being stuck staunch one thought process, and only this thought process seems to be aired the most, because CNN was especially in the United States, is aired everywhere, including the airports.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with that mindset that Penn was trying to give, and unfortunately, it didn't matter whether Obama removed that law or not. That was going on way before Obama.
Well, I think too, all that caused was, I think you're saying like Fox gives both sides of things, and I'll say this much: I don't think they give both sides of things. I don't think MSNBC does. They probably have some conservatives come on that MSNBC and talk, but they're ones that they know they're not set up to win.
No.
They don't set up their best guys to go on the air to oppose their talking points.
I can agree with that.
So it makes it gives it the illusion that we're representing both sides, but it's kind of like the early Worski Live, or I guess the mid-range one where it was him and JF. They brought on
That
both
one, the other
sides.
trash fire I loved that. It wasn't a good both sides. Trust me on that one. Because Worski was he's a pushover for the most part. It's recent that he's gotten a backbone. And he's slowly giving no fucks, which is finally a Canadian aspect to be approaching. But Worski, for the most part, he's been taking in the back quarters for a very long time.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of where you see on, that law creating. It doesn't really create like an open dialogue or unbiased ideas. You bring on somebody that'll bring up the other side's talking points, and they'll let them get defeated easily, and then we represented both sides.
Yeah, well, that's why I say try. And I never said there was going to be a proper equal talking point that both sides seems to be very normalized. It's very easy to construct a narrative, but unfortunately, CNN and those within the left side since has their narrative figured out already. And again, it's based off of how many clicks that they can get.
I think there's a lot of posturing in politics there too. I think a lot of it's just bullshit. So I guess it's kind of funny that people covering it are full of shit too. But whether you go with Trump or Obama, if you remember the first 4 years, they owned the majority of the House. They really
Yes.
didn't try to get much done. And then when they lost it, oh, now we're going to try to push through this shit that they knew they weren't going to get pushed through.
Mhm.
So they could look at the next election and go like, oh, they didn't let me get this shit through. So you're going to vote them out, right? It's, I don't know. It's never really been an honest theater.
But I'm looking at Winslayer's comment here. The left has no arguments, so they're easy to beat by default. I will agree and disagree at the same
What you
time.
just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God mercy on your soul.
Anywho, they have a message. They do have an interesting argument to be made. Problem is they're arguing amongst themselves on who's going to be holding the mic at this point.
Apparently, it's either going to be some kind of crazy vegan or some angry black woman.
Yeah. So once we've decided on, or once they've decided, I should say, who's going to be holding the mic to actually have their talking points laid out, their talking points are basically the same.
Can I just say I'm actually impressed at how long Tulsi has been sticking it out despite everybody basically being against her.
Okay.
I mean, she's gonna go, and she's gonna continue going as far as she can. But I think DNC basically said, "Well, no, now we're gonna change the rules again." So they changed the rules for Bloomberg, who drops out the second that things on Super Tuesday don't go his way.
Yeah, they want Biden. I mean, that's pretty
I
obvious.
really think Bloomberg did his job. Bloomberg was there to destroy the Bernie votes, to split the votes. Same with Elizabeth Warren. Well, Elizabeth Warren went from I'm the Indian princess, please hear me roar, to I'm a socialist too, please vote for me. You not catch that?
I caught it.
Okay,
they kept on saying that she was Bernie Sanders in Hillary Clinton, Clinton face.
Basically, she decided to take some with that. I don't know who decided to give this orders for. Well, I'm going to say the DNC for the most part concluded that we don't want Bernie to win. Period. End of line. Here's how we're going to do it. Oh no, Bernie's winning. Doesn't matter what we do. Wait, we got this billionaire who wants to run for, and all he wants to do is pay for Super Tuesday. Sure, we'll change the rules to make it fittable for him. We'll take his money. He'll split the votes even further. Here we are.
It's like the Democratic Party is just a BDSM fetish.
Yeah, well, they've concluded one thing. They don't want Bernie.
They don't look good in leather.
Between sub and dom.
Yeah,
they do not look good in leather.
Well, I see it a little bit too as like where the where you consider libertarian versus neocons. I would say would be where you consider like I guess you would consider them socialist versus the established Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of like that, a little fight for a power struggle, and that happened on the right. That was mainly the beginning of the like even when George Bush was in office, we started to see the Tea Party sprout out from that. And I think it kind of came from that movement and pushed forward. And the left has that kind of a fired to do the same too. I mean, what they did when they were doing those protests in 08, that was a big thing. But again, until like you get away from the system that's already has the same candidates in place over and over again, that wants the same, they have agendas. They have certain people they want in. They didn't want Trump in. They don't want Sanders in. They want Hillary. They want, the McCains and shit like that. That's what they want representing them.
Yep. Right now, Joe's got the lead in the Democratic side when it comes down to the delegates by
Just barely.
664, where Bernie has 573. So that's a pretty decent, clear majority in my mind. Is Bernie going to drop out now?
Well, I
Actually,
didn't hear anybody
not.
saying that earlier. Before Super Tuesday, Joe Biden really didn't have any. He was losing to what was the
He
guy
was
that-
only
but-
gaining supporters as soon as Buddy Geek dropped and said, I support Biden. Then Amy dropped out and says, I support Biden. He only got that surge because other people started dropping out and giving him the support.
He was losing to Buttigieg. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't even fucking know. Never heard of the guy
Buttigieg.
before.
Biden is going to lose the next couple states because he has no support there in those states. Well, Bernie does.
You're seeing the push towards they want him to be the winner so much
Well,
they
he might
didn't
get-
want to say like, oh well, somebody has like a clear win or a clear lead. They didn't want to like point out like Biden has no delegates going into Super Tuesday at all. Now that he actually has a lead, oh well, it's over now.
No, it's not.
No.
over.
Just because in the polls of the Democratic primary, he might win and even just barely, that just means that Trump is going to railroad him come the general.
What's going to happen is, and what we're seeing is because there's enough delegates that are off the table for both candidates, to where you can see a tie, and neither are going to reach the majority that they need, and we're probably going to take this to this vote to the DNC.
Yeah, and the DNC's main
Gonna
goal
cheat.
is
That's why Biden's going to get it.
yeah.
That's why Biden's going to get it.
They're going to cheat.
Oh, they always. What is they ever not? I mean, and everybody's going to know it, and then everybody's gonna be like,
What's saying they're not already cheating now?
Oh, they are.
They've been
they've
cheating.
Time out. When did
for quite some time?
When did Biden become Goku and learn how to use the fucking spurt bomb?
He isn't. It's his wife and sister that he's both fucking.
Shit.
Well, he said he was. I mean, he did it on stage.
He has those moments. Also, he likes the way how kids like to rub up against his legs. So,
and he's also squirting blood out.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So I got a stupid question. What happens if Biden does make it to the final election and it's him against Trump?
Trump's going to railroad him.
And he dies from a stroke.
Well, it's not going to matter who, if Biden gets there. It's going to matter who his vice president is.
Yeah.
Because Biden
This is true.
Biden is just not even going to make it through the year. He's Ronald Reagan, but with a limited time.
Yeah. So realistically speaking, it doesn't matter whether it's Bernie or Biden at this point. I'm wanting to know who their running mates are going to be.
Tick tock, tick tock.
Because both of them are relatively up there in age. Bernie, he's 78.
Here's the thing. Neither one of them can win without the other. So the only possibility they have of actually even beating Trump is if they run together.
I doubt that.
That's just not
Biden Sanders, that would be hilarious because both of them are about a year apart from each other.
Yeah, I know.
And could you just imagine them both of them dying at the same time?
So then Nancy Pelosi becomes the president of the United States.
You realize that whoever's leading the House,
Pelosi becomes president of the United States.
Yeah, but isn't her time coming up too?
Not until 2022.
There we go. So
henceforth,
can you say
Nancy Pelosi would be? So you would have your very first woman president.
There was a day President Pelosi was trending on Twitter and like I died inside.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. By default, she would hold it. So
Oh
But
my
here's the
God.
thing: I'm pretty sure after this, the House speakership would pass on to somebody else.
Yeah, AOC.
By the oh God,
Oh,
I was actually going to say
Oh.
that, but the way you said it would be the trash fire. So it's basically like
What's
Happy Halloween, ladies.
All I can say, it was great knowing you guys for what it was. Your experiment was lovely. It lasted a pretty good time. Congratulations. But unfortunately, when you have people who don't understand challenges or who are so egotistical and have been raised with everybody winning trophies, yeah, you're going to get this.
I'm going to summarize Rogue here.
Father,
Pretty much.
I am a worm. I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Indeed. I agree with that one. Yeah, no, I mean, you got a lot of entitled individuals running the show. Hollywood, your media, hell, your politics.
Our politicians don't even know people anymore. They just kind of make it up. I think the only one that did know people was Trump, and for a little, because he didn't care. He just didn't care about this bullshit, and it was nice while it lasted. We went off on a high
It was a
note.
brilliant. It was good while you guys lasted. So, Canada has open arms for some of you. Mexico would love to take you all over.
Oh God! Our worst state, Mexico, can take over a flea.
Still, did I not say would like to take you over?
The drug lords probably could.
Oh yeah, drug lords guaranteed can take you over. So expect a divide of the United States into two little different clusters and that, and a restructuring and giant walls to be built in amongst each other. So you guys will have to have your own little wars amongst Hunger Games style ideals. Oh, I can. Oh, Hunger Games. Can you just imagine that inside the continental United States? Hunger Games being.
That's where it was based on.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I also like the fact that Sparkys is looking very stoic into the camera.
Is he?
Well,
he just looks sad.
here's the reason why. Because if that ever happens, this is gonna be the song playing for America as it is.
No, you guys will survive. You'll survive. You'll be a little bit different.
It's not taps, Sparky. It's Gundam style.
Yeah.
It's more Gundam style.
Open Gangnam Style.
But yeah. Well, because of the virus that should not be named Corona Chan or whatever else you want to call it, may be causing some minor problems with the new consoles that will be coming out this year.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
I heard
coming out at all.
Well, no, I heard that they come out with 2 different versions of each, correct?
Yeah, there's the S and the X. There's the extreme and the soft.
And that's both for Xbox and for PlayStation. You gotta have the Pro versions, and then you gotta have the commonest versions.
Well, if you look at the specs of each of them and the chip layout, and it's basically the same goddamn machine with different software running.
Which one will save you from getting the coronavirus?
Neither one of them, because of the factor that the chips are mostly manufactured in China. So
no, because Sony is Asian mostly, it's going to get the coronavirus. Well, since you're white, if you have an Xbox, you're fine.
Which is mostly produced by Asian chips.
Well, see
what
here.
I'm saying is the Xbox is immune to.
I mean, here's the thing: the both gonna be running the AMD Zen CPU.
Oh, yeah.
And the only difference is gonna be the number of teraflops. That both of them are gonna be running.
Also, here, Also, guys, there's only so much material for both products. That means that you're going to have a slow burn after the original release, because manufacturing for these chips have been halted because a certain company controls the manufacture of it, happens to be in China. Yeah, you're not going to see a lot happening after 2021.
Actually, no. There are some chips. The same chips are basically produced in Korea as well, South Korea.
Oh, who also has the coronavirus?
Yeah, but not nearly as bad.
Really? Have you been looking at the stats?
Or have they gone up? I basically started ignoring the damn thing.
Yeah, well, the stats have been going up.
If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at this, but I'm going out in a blaze of glory.
But here's the one thing: the stats have been going up heavily on the Asian areas or Asian-related areas. As for those that are not Asian, within the same genetical makeup of any Asians, they seem to be fine.
Well, it's starting to pick up in America, and the thing that worries me about it is
Well, have you looked at who's actually dying in the United States?
Jewish people?
Actually, no.
I don't know. Who? Asians?
We may want to look at
Old
the
Asian-
actual because your first death in the United States, as well as ours up here in Canada, happened to be Chinese.
Yeah, you know.
and that could be a factor. An unfortunate factor, but it could be a factor.
Yeah.
We're going to see the exact, I think, before it's over, the exact impact it'll have in the U.S. because we're still running all these political rallies.
So
Because it's an election year.
To be the death of communism?
Maybe, we don't know. At this moment, it's a lot of speculation because we don't have a lot of data that's accurate at this point. But from what you can see, even from the CDC and other outliers that have been following this, and again, me being just a data hound, looking at it just on the perspective of who's actually being affected the most, who's dying from it the most, what age group they are within. It seems like anybody over the age of 10 to 100 and some odd, they seem to be susceptible to this at the moment. It seems like the largest majority of fatalities happens to be Asians. The least amount of fatalities happens to be white and blacks. So
it's hit India, by the way, now too.
Yeah, that's why I said whites and blacks. I didn't. The Indians and a few others in between that, they are unfortunately have a degree of genetic.
So basically, the children are the future because they're the only ones that are going to be left.
Most likely, yes.
Interesting.
So anybody under the age of 9, we haven't seen an actual fatality or early stages of this disease.
Well, I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, but yeah, there's been 2 cases in my area.
Yeah,
confirmed.
we mentioned that.
We mentioned the Jews are dying in Florida.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's horrible. Actually, that's really bad.
Yeah, it's gonna eventually hit everywhere, I'm sure.
Forget gassing and forget gassing and burning alive. Just get them with a disease.
Well, I mean that's the easiest way of doing it, but realistically,
had it all wrong.
Yeah.
he was trying, but he didn't get that far.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the Trail of Tears meets concentration camp.
Kind of.
Well, technically, the Trail of Tears was a mobile concentration camp. So.
Yeah. With smallpox and blankets in the wintertime.
Yep.
Who would have thought?
That South Park episode popped into my head. God damn it. Oh, they give those blankets to the white man and the scars.
SARS.
I said scars. God damn it, SARS. But we're all going to die from it, so it doesn't matter.
Be prepared. Wrong, different Scar. Shut up.
Wow.
We should.
No,
we should
So-
I always find it interesting when you're trying to find data and you're looking at something like this coronavirus, and you want to break it down to besides age and
Nationality.
race.
Oh, you can't
You
find
need
anything.
nationality. They avoid the nationality.
And the race or in the age.
No, the age. No, they're fine with the age.
Okay.
The nationality.
No one cares about old people.
Apparently, they're not going to be very upfront on that one.
Because it's racist.
I gathered that, but that's where you get to see where the infection rate is. Who's the likely person
To catch it and
target.
who's likely to spread it.
Yeah,
And
because
then-
that is a
and
real
then-
thing.
And
Yeah.
then also the fact that, they want
And
people to
gender.
care and be afraid. And if it's just Asians, no one cares.
And gender, you can't forget gender.
Yeah, because it's 5 times likely that Asian males will die from this.
The trans community is disproportionately affected by this. Why is that? Because there's no help for us. Well, we could have told you that.
Yeah. Move to China. Looks like you might have a chance there. Oh, too bad it doesn't matter if you're a man.
Mm-hmm.
If you consider yourself a woman, but
Also, you have a higher likelihood of dying from this if you're a smoker or have some
Because
degree
it's
of
all
chronic health.
respiratory.
Well, yeah, because it has receptacles for lungs and only lungs. So if you've had issues with like bronchitis or
pneumonia,
whatever, and
lung cancer.
and again at a certain age you're not unable to recover from this, your likelihood of dying from it is much more higher. So
If you have asthma, I wonder how that affects it.
well, again, I should be worried about this, but I'm not. I'm looking at it as more of a research kind of thing, going, okay, what does this, how does this, and who does this?
There's a difference between, this is something that I've had to contend with because I was the first one in my family to say, okay, maybe we should start buying a little extra food. Not panic buy, but, maybe just a couple more cans of
So you don't want to go out there and buy up all the toilet paper?
No.
I've started
Where are you going to get toilet paper?
buying and selling toilet paper right now online. I'm making a good profit.
Yeah, you will make a good profit.
Or you'll get arrested for price gouging.
Oh no!
At this point, if it's the Chinese market, they'll spend $2,000 per roll.
They are bidding on this. I am not setting a price. They are bidding on this.
Got it.
I can't help what they choose to spend.
Got it. Anyways, I was the first one in my family to start raising the alarm. Then, when my folks started getting notices from their jobs, then my mom starts to freak out just a little bit. I'm like, I told you. Now, this is not something that we need to panic over, but she is a little more panicky than I'd like her to be. My father, the skeptic, all of a sudden wants to avoid any places with crowds. And, yeah, I'm sitting here going, there's a difference between being panicky and being prepared. You don't have to be afraid of it. You just have to be prepared for it.
Well, this is how little fucks I go. I went to the circus on Friday, so.
Were you in the 3-ring act?
No.
I thought he was part of the circus.
That's what I just basically said.
Oh, me and a couple friends were talking about how we can get supply, in a natural disaster or something, and how they pull over vehicles over here if they are trucks. You buy an Amazon van, which is going to be easy to buy and cheap to buy now, and you start taking those products over and you sell them that way. And you say, well, no, I'm just delivering these products to these people who ordered them a long time ago, and I'm an Amazon delivery person. And the cop's like, well, the guy let him go. He's just a delivery person. He's not trying to.
Here's the problem. They checked the manifesto.
Oh, make a face manifest.
Yeah, it's hard to do these days, especially with electronic logs. It's impossible to do now.
Not if sell them on eBay, then bring them there yourself.
Although that
Yeah.
that does raise the question. Now, in a natural crisis like this, there's the need for the analog for the actual drivers rather than the autonomous ones.
You can make up a fake one, by the way. It wouldn't be hard. Oh, you can create a website in your own server and be like, oh, see, here you go.
You have to have a group of hackers behind you to basically help forge that stuff, but now you're getting into Ocean's 11 territory.
No,
not necessarily. You don't need that huge group. You just need a small band of maybe 3,
Yeah,
6.
so just
that
regular
are
hackers.
interested.
You would make hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to pay each other.
Okay, so we need the driver, we need the programmer, we need a graphic designer. Well, we got half of those right here.
Yeah, there we go. We have made the illegal means to price gouge legally in another country or another state down in hurricane areas and tornadoes. So there you go.
I got a disclaimer. Sparky's Tech Corner does not condone any of these actions.
Condone or endorse.
Yeah, do not.
He lies, by the way.
However,
He's looking about trying to get as much money as humanly possible.
Allegedly.
Further disclaimer, Sparky's Tech Corner disavows any illegal activity, and any association with these individuals is purely coincidental.
Exactly.
Like it's purely coincidental that he likes to electrocute himself. Unwillingly.
Sparky, I mean
Unknowingly.
BDSM.
No.
I mean, does your girlfriend know how much you like getting electrocuted?
I think he has one of those, balls zapping, seats and that.
Cattle
and every
prod.
now and then he's like, do it again!
Christ.
Speaking of which, how's that baby making coming?
Well, if he's getting his balls zapped, I'm thinking it's going to be very difficult.
There is no baby making.
Yet. Not with that attitude.
I mean, technically, he is correct. If he's getting his balls zapped every week or so, it would be difficult to make babies. I mean, all you have to do, Sparky, is stop getting those little happy boys, zapped
like
for quite some time, and maybe, just maybe, you might luck out.
Wait a minute, his sperm wouldn't be supercharged? Like when you strike a creeper with lightning, it becomes a supercharged creeper?
No,
those things go kaboom real quick.
Yeah, that
and leave
very
a mess
explosive.
all over the place.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bun in the Oven portion of the show.
But yeah, obviously, the butt of the joke happens to be Sparky, and the joke is, everybody
Usually
else
I'm
here
the
in
butt
chat.
of the joke.
Well, I mean,
it's good to have somebody else be the butt for once.
Well, I mean, it depends on how good of a butt they have.
I'm sorry, my butt's probably not as good as yours.
No. God damn it. How the tables have turned.
It's very easy to turn a
Yeah,
table
you
down.
make it very easy.
Are you saying Earth girls are easy?
Well, it's kind of like the meme Samaj made in the Discord. Whenever I posted the picture after I got hit in the nose with the fucking pulley on a lawnmower. It's like, we talked about having kids. It's like, no, that's not what happened.
Oh my god.
So,
yeah,
what do you think of this
I gotta
E3?
thank Samaj for that. Fucking troll.
We're coming up to...
Kids, it works. What about this E3 fiasco? You think it's still going to go through with whatever plans that they have, or they're going to shut it down?
No, and I anticipate that YouTube will cancel theirs, and Twitch will cancel theirs soon. If they've already canceled South by Southwest, I can see others following.
But LTX is
Comic-Con is probably... Actually, Comic-Con is in San Diego. That one's a tough one to call.
Yeah, but who's actually buying comics nowadays, Pan?
Hey, Pen Rogue, I have a comment here quoted from Captain Hook about her and Sparky's relationship.
Oh.
I know on the outside our relationship looks pretty dysfunctional, but behind closed doors, we make it work. You like that, don't you?
You beautiful science bitch, you ruined my dreams, you know I fucking do!
Yeah, I ruined your dreams, didn't I?
Oh, you did!
That's right, let it all out. Ready to get Frogger?
Yeah!
that seems about right.
That is a long sound clip.
That was a long quote.
That was, but my God, that does seem like that's a relationship right there.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Update soundboard.
But you have a lot on your list there, Pan.
I have lists that you don't even know of, Rogue.
And have you completed one of them?
Topic for another day.
Every time, yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes, we know, Sparky, that you want to flip off your girlfriend, but not with your finger, but with your dick. It's fine.
And if you're going to use, you want to do 2 fingers, sometimes 3. That way,
I mean, I don't know how. I don't know if she enjoys the whole fist or not.
No, I mean, some do. Just remember lube.
Hook, if you're listening to this, I am so sorry. This is not about you. This is about Raccoon on Sparky.
Really, you had to explain that? I thought that would be like a no-brainer.
Well, it is me. So.
All you guys.
We love you too, Sparky.
Anywho, yeah, no.
Time out. I'm gonna state something right now. I'll get it. I feel like Acogen on my channel.
You feel like what?
Acogen.
Acogen, yeah, no. Still.
Yeah, it's not his channel though. That's the thing, and I get that same thing too. Actually, a little bit now. There's times where everyone's like, "What are you even talking about?" And I'm like, let me get to my point, and you'll understand.
I know, just cut to the chase right now.
Oh my god. Anyways, side note, Sparky and Gem, did you ever get my get the video that I showed you for the Uno?
The video that you showed for the Uno?
Yeah. I shared you an Achievement Hunter video that's like a 2-hour something video of Jeff, Gavin, Jeremy, and Ryan / Jack, because they switch out in the middle, playing a game of Uno. And basically it boiled down to they had to get 500 points in order to move on, in order for the game to be declared a winner. Mm-hmm. And they were playing 0s and 7s.
That could just go on forever.
Exactly, and they're all fucking complaining about it. And I'm like, we were very close to this once.
The game wouldn't fucking end.
No, it wouldn't. Now, they were playing against each other, whereas you and I were just playing against the AI.
I'm probably never going to play Uno again because I don't know why. It just bugs with my sound settings.
So if it wasn't a matter of it fucking with your sound settings, you'd play it again. That's what you're saying.
Yes, I would.
All right. So if somebody else was in charge of the sound settings, you'd still play.
That's not it. Well, are you talking about streaming on your channel?
I didn't say anything. I'm just saying put somebody else in charge of the sound.
No. I like this where this is going right now, making her do the work.
And I'll rip it and re-upload it on my channel.
Right, I like this idea. We both agree that this seems reasonable. That we make Penn do all the work for a change, and we get to re-upload it on whatever respective channel that you want to upload it on. Makes sense.
So
would that be on your Pen Candy channel, or do you just do it on the audio?
Do I have to make you take me to the basement again?
Oh, Sid, we have guests.
Time out. So what we're saying is this is never going to happen.
That's basically no, because Penn has so much on her plate, and the question I asked a while back answers any project going forward.
All right, so basically clear out some shit, and then I can get you to shove your face on it.
Hey, Maybe you want to do that.
And Jim Max is dying now.
Yes, that
Of
was
course
your...
he is.
Oh shit! I don't know. Oh god. Oh.
Did we miss the butt of the joke? Oh wait, she's still here.
Ow. Okay.
Anywho, apparently Onwards is doing slightly well overseas.
I thought it crashed.
Actually, it managed to get 28 million. Right now, it's worldwide. It is 68 million overall, with a budget estimated at the same price.
Apparently, Nemo never heard of it though until I mentioned it yesterday.
Yeah, that's tells you right there the amount of marketing. I don't think it was marketed to the hilt because they've got an LGBTQ elemental P alphabet type character that is easily removable out of the movie.
Or even one line of dialogue changed. I've seen the movie twice. The line itself isn't that bad. It makes you groan because now you're looking for it. But at the same time, it's like either remove the character entirely, or you can change one line of dialogue, and
Which they did in
it
Russia.
doesn't matter.
Which
And
they
it
had to
doesn't
do in
make it matter at all.
Yeah, no. So, and this is why I think it's kind of fascinating with Disney and trying to push their agenda of being inclusive for a certain alphabet group. But also making sure that the character that they're going to have represent is very easily removable or structured in line.
Is it terrible that I can pick out certain characters from the movie and actually go, that would be the black version of a human? Because it's either all elves, trolls, pixies, cyclopses, or centaurs.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the movie. I seen the movie before it actually was
You know what
released,
exactly I'm
and-
talking about too,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
Everybody see
Yes.
Leela on her new show, by the way, that Disney just blatantly fucking stole.
Yeah.
Stool or stole?
Stole.
Okay.
Leela from fucking Futurama.
Yeah.
Disney just fucking picked up and said, "Here." There you go.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody's like, ahead,
speaking of movies and shows and stuff like that, on the animation side, 2 bits of news I seen the other day.
Okay.
Project Melody is now streaming on Twitch. and Interspecies Reviews is now exploring necrophilia. It's like,
okay.
what?
Wait, I hear the shock out of Sparky. I hear the sighs out of Gem Max and that. I hear the silence from the rest of the group, and then you get Rogue going and.
And
Can
it's weird.
I am caught between going, can we back this up, to can we keep going forward and see how much this gets fucked up?
No, Pen,
What's
you
that?
really don't really understand the fetish community or the amount of kinks that is available within.
No, I don't, and I kind of don't want to know.
Which is what they're exploring, all the different kinks within the human mindset. Trust me, you guys have we have a lot of different kinks.
I'm surprised they haven't done the foot fetish one yet.
Give it time.
Are you talking about Interspecies Reviewers?
Yes.
I think
they're focusing on kinks. That's their.
I think they've already done that.
So they're basically going from mainstream kinks to the more obscured.
Yeah.
You're saying you've studied a lot of this subject.
Yeah, and if you're not a person who doesn't know all these kinks, yeah, it's a good introduction to them. But if you already know a mass majority of them, you're not shocked by this whatsoever. And it's like, okay, seeing this, and okay, it's fascinating that it's an anime that's doing it. Okay, great, but we are talking about Japanese here.
Yeah,
they have a lot of unique.
I'm
kinks.
I'm so baffled by Funimation's. Oh, let's animate this. Let's dub this, and not doing any research into it.
I don't know. Actually, here's the weird thing. I think they did the research, and they didn't care at the time. And there is a certain in group, and this is something that is happening even within other larger movie studios. That there's two separate groups that are wanting to gain rulage over. So there's two ruling parties. So you have the SGW group, who wants a certain degree of SJW motifs focused on. Then you have a more or less, yes, would be traditionalist or conservative type group that wants to stick with the business aspect of this is how we're going to make the money, and we need this in order to make sure that we get a good level of gain over the amount of effort to make this. Basic business 101. Pretty
All
simple.
right, so there's one that's trying to co-opt and subterfuge the whole process, and the other is like, no, we need to do this in order to stay in business and not be in trouble.
Correct. And we can still do what you want to do, but we want to make sure we're financially capable of doing it. So you have those two fighting parties. It includes in Funimation. And unfortunately, until that shit gets figured out, you're going to have a lot of anime coming to the forefront and then being removed because it doesn't fit whatever narrative at that time. Trust me, it'll probably be back after the war is done and the sides have settled on who's going to be running the show, and no one's going to think about it except for the outspoken YouTubers or whatever personality out there going, "Hey, remember what happened when?"
You remember when happened?
It's happening with Doctor Who. It happened with Star Wars. We've watched Star Trek go through this entire thing. So are we shocked and surprised that mass media at the largest is being infiltrated by entitled individuals who think that their plight is much more important? And realistically, it isn't when it comes down to the bottom line in dollar.
No, this is not shocking. I think the only thing that's shocking is actually, no, I can't even say that at that point. It's almost expected. You say SJW and media, and everybody goes, oh, okay, so the franchise is dead.
Pretty much. I mean, Alex Kurtzman is the forerunner for the beautiful thing known as Star Trek. And how is that going well? Pretty much almost killed the entire franchise alone to a point where CBS and Viacom will have to merge in order to... Paramount? Viacom? CBS? I think so. They're under the same kind of bloody tree.
Paramount, I think, is a Viacom company.
Yeah, so they would all have to merge and then remerge and then kind of sort out who's going to be controlling what, so they can be profitable again. Hollywood's going through the same basic angst with their divide of socially woke actors and that versus I just want to make money.
And look at it, the ones that are just worried about making money make the money, whereas the other ones get the bad publicity and are failing.
Correct.
So the question is, how long until that money runs out when
20
you
years.
can no longer... 20 years?
20 years.
Okay. And how many of those 20 years have we gotten a chunk of already?
I would say the first 5.
So 15 more years of this bullshit?
Possibly. Yeah, give or take. Hollywood's seeing it right now. As you can see within their own little media zeitgeist, they're actually turning on some of these people slowly.
I'm curious because of somebody who's been in this industry. What makes you say 20 years?
Because of the fact it's always been the cycle. It's always been roughly about 20 to 30 years for every cycle that Hollywood goes into. Prime example would be when you guys were going up against the communists in Hollywood. How long did that take before it went away?
I was not born then, so I don't know.
About 20, 30 years.
So basically a generation's worth of people.
Yeah.
Just enough time to cycle out one set of ideologues for another.
Correct.
One group of degenerates for another group of degenerates.
Another group of degenerates, yes. Same thing with the unfortunate thing of the pedophiliism, and the casting couch is always going to be there because it's been there since the dawn of Hollywood. Like it or not. It's part of the human business condition. Yeah. We see an advantage in order to take, I guess would be the best lesser of the words I can possibly use, and use it to whatever profitability for us. It's an advantage for, say, a beautiful individual. Doesn't matter we're male or female. Beautiful individual wants to get to a certain level, and they need to do this in order to get to that level.
I guess
Are they willing to do it?
Applies to feminism, right?
Yes.
When was Wave 1?
Wave 1 would have been 1800s, something like that.
Late 1800s or early 1800s?
I think it was late 1800s, because that would have been the
second wave was when?
60s.
All right. Well, that rule didn't apply.
Actually, it kind of
third
did,
wave?
because feminism died for the longest time up until about the 60s, and then it became an evolutionary change, because by the 60s to the mid 90s, you ended up with the third reincarnation of feminism.
Which would have been 20 to 30 years, and here we are in the fourth wave.
Yes, and the fourth wave is competing with the third wave, which is still competing with the second wave generation. The suffragettes were only a thought process to take over the right to vote for everyone. There were two different divisions of that.
Can I make a prediction that fifth wave feminism will basically be a wave back to traditionalism?
Most likely, yes.
Empowering women to make their own decisions, even if it means they want to go back to the kitchen.
Yes. Yeah, because if you look at the long
and more women become pro-life as opposed to pro-abortion.
Pro-choice. You get to choose to a degree.
The problem is
but again, the choice has to be limited.
But that's just it. It at the moment it's not, but it's
cosmetic.
As.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's more of a cosmetic ideal,
as opposed to being pro-family.
Well, here's my only problem with the pro-life, pro-choice thing. If you're gonna make it to where it's pro-choice, you have a choice whether you want to keep it or abort it, then you kind of need to change the laws where, like, if a female is murdered and that child is then murdered as well because not born yet, it can't no longer be a double homicide. Because if that's the case, if the female, the mother, decides to abort it, that would be considered homicide.
Yeah, it's still considered a homicide, regardless of the factor. But you have to limit the amount of punishment that would be behind it. That's the problem. Right now, you guys have gotten to a point where the choice is now merely a cosmetic point of view, where the individual could go into an abortion clinic and use it as a contraceptive, which wasn't the original game plan. The idea was those who are in a position where it is going to affect them medically.
It's the mistake of believing that abortion is birth control. No, it's birth terminating, not birth control. Birth control, such as other contraceptives, such as pills or condoms or the vaginal condoms or whatever, or even abstinence, that's birth control. You're controlling whether you actually get pregnant or not.
Correct.
Yeah, but you're also talking about a group of people that believe you can get pregnant by just swimming in a pool with a guy.
Yeah, well, hey, why not? Makes sense. But at the end of this entire conversation, it does come back down to
I'm sorry to. I needed to add one more thought to that. It's also the idea that abortion improves the mental health of the mother because they've expanded the pregnancy is affecting the health of the mother, but they added in mental health into that. It's like, I'm sorry. No, is the mother's life in immediate danger of dying because of the pregnancy? If not, then it sounds like she needs a therapist.
If going through pregnancy is a mental health challenge for the female, maybe they need to get tied.
Oh, I was going to say, you have these feminists who say we need to castrate men. It's like, no. How about we tie your tubes?
Well, I can understand again. I'm not trying to hang on. I'm not trying to defend the feminist plight whatsoever. I can
I'm not
see
either.
the legitimacy on the medical procedures. Going through castration is a lot more simpler for males to go through than it is for females to go through.
But that's not the point, though.
Time out. It then comes down to, okay, if that female wants to have sex, that's on her, not the male.
No, I gathered that. Look, again, like I said, medically speaking, and that's where I'm going with medical procedure, a lot more easier on men than it is on women. Outside of that, you have to take in the consideration of what choices that they made. Unfortunately, if they're utilizing their bodies to have sex with just about everybody without any precaution whatsoever, then they're going to be a victim to their own circumstances. So now they've got to take control over their lives.
And I say this with all due respect because I know there are certain people listening. I say this with all due respect, and I do mean it. Rape is not an automatic excuse for termination either. That's still a pro-choice thing, but it should not be. I was raped, therefore we need to justify abortion.
There's plenty
end all be all.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of choices to have before that point.
Yes.
Plan B and stuff like that. I mean,
but
does it always work?
Plan B does work a little bit better than most. But again,
it works better than not taking it to begin with.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, we have all these different materials or medical materials available, prescriptions or whatnot, that actually simulates miscarriage without having to go through getting a vacuum.
So what you're saying is, this is basically the whole thing.
Did you f*** up?
And the answer is,
I might have f***ed up, yes.
Yes.
That's
basically what it is. And I get the argument for both sides of the talking points. Problem is that you need to allow the possibility of abortion for certain
circumstances. Yes.
Yeah, I have no issues with that at all. The issues I have is I can do this
you're
whenever
using
I
it
want.
as a cosmetic contraceptive. I have issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, I can agree with you up to a certain point, and then I kind of go, okay, wait, but you are using this as just I go to, and you're expecting everybody to pay for it. No, if it's a cosmetical choice, you, the person, should be paying for this.
Well, it's
for this luxury.
Cosmetical lifestyle choice, because there what was it? I saw a video on Twitter the other day of this woman bragging that she's had 3 different abortions, and that's why it's allowed her to succeed in life. It's like, okay, that's a lifestyle choice. Where's part of the lifestyle of actually wearing condoms and taking birth control?
No, I just like the fact that when I point out that she according to this particular person, that they got knocked up 3 times. Where's the accountability of that?
There is no accountability.
Man, see,
We're not holding women accountable for their actions.
no. And that's the problem. When you have one group that's
And
only
if you
being
dare
held
do so,
accountable
you're a
and the other
bully.
group not, I can see a problem.
And if you dare hold a woman accountable for her actions, you're a bully and a misogynist.
Well, again, I'm already there, so I'm also an asshole. So I'm.
I was gonna say it takes two to tango, one to put in, one to spread the legs. So
True, but there's a few that there's a few dolls that can question that one.
Sure, the dolls don't have the STDs either.
Though they don't even have the ability to consent. So, if feminism wants to really get into the plight of silicone dolls, please do. That'd be, a laugh riot for me.
And the perfect example, the perfect thing to say basically there is, okay, you have porn stars. How come they're not pregnant and getting abortions all the time?
Well, because majority of them are using the contraceptives, or at least the Plan B.
So you're either lazy, or you think you're too good. You're better than a porn
I like
star.
I like the first one better there, Pan.
Yes, I know.
Lazy and entitled makes sense to me.
Lazy and entitled.
And you want it very simple and very easy. You just walk in going, hey doc, I've got this mole growing inside of me. No problem. And then
I got
you're
this
done.
parasite. Oh, I love that language too. It's a parasite.
Oh, it's a parasite all the way up until we have to,
It's
protect
a
the animals.
tumor.
All until we have to protect the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once we have to protect the animals, then it's no longer a parasite.
How is it that the EPA can basically protect certain types of parasitic amoebas in the wild, but this supposed parasite that grows in human females is not protectable?
that
also
that would be an interesting conversation to have if they were pro-choice, pro-vegan.
Pro-environment.
That would be an interesting conversation to have with someone. If they were pro-choice, pro-vegan.
We have to take care of the Amazonian leeches. Okay, what about babies?
No. Like if somebody goes, "Well, I'm pro-choice. It's up to the women to choose. You can't eat chicken eggs because they're fertilized chickens," and it's like, you don't make sense.
Well, yeah, no. I think a lot of people don't make sense. It's kind of a given.
Yeah, no, and I agree, which is why I don't mind sitting back and relaxing, just pointing and laughing, and that's all I need to do. Point and laugh.
Can we point and laugh some more, please?
Well, I mean, let's point and laugh at the trash fire that is James Bond. Apparently, and this is rumor at best, the new James Bond movie, which is ready to go, by the way, it should be advertisement right now, a whole hog to be sent out in the next couple of months, is being held until November. Most likely due to two options. The certain flu that's going around that's causing them a problem, or which is also heavily rumored, that the early screenings of this movie has not fared very well to a point where they may have to do reshoots.
Oh, shit. Even the prospect of reshoots scared people away. Oh, fuck. Well, and why would they be reshooting?
Well, this is a very woke agended movie. It's going to take James Bond as you knew it and make him into what you saw in Picard, but 10 times the level.
So what you're saying is the last white James Bond is basically the last James Bond, real James Bond ever.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're going to be hyping. They're going to be hyping the black chick who's going to hold the 007 title, but not the name. So yeah, you remember Terminator Woke?
This is going to be worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not doing very well. And to a point where I think the holders,
007, but not a Bond.
yeah, the holders of said franchise don't like it and are demanding some
Bond.
changes.
Jane Bond.
So wait a minute, did they make James Bond a woman now?
No,
They made
no.
007 a woman.
They made 007 a black woman.
So yes, they made James Bond a woman.
No. James Bond is still James Bond. 007 is a black woman.
And her name is Jane Bond.
No,
I don't know what
they're gonna pull Rise of Palpatine. She's gonna change her name to Jane Bond.
They could try, but at this moment,
no, that's what they're gonna do.
Well, from what
there is only do.
No. From what I gathered and what I've been told, she dies in the movie.
Oh, thank God! Wonderful.
You know how bad that sounds, right?
I don't care.
But that was one screening. Another screening keeps her alive. He dies.
Oh, he dies?
Yeah.
Assholes have to help assholes, right?
So there's been a few different castings, and they've settled on one that hasn't done very well, and yeah, to a point where they're going to wait until November. That big gap that they have there is prime time to do a lot of re-editing and some very tight reshoots.
Everybody is going to base it. So let me guess. The best one was where 007, the new 007, died. That screened the best.
Possibly, maybe not. We don't know.
I bet it.
I don't know. At the end of the day, all we know from the rumors that have been pushed out, and I have to call them rumors at best, is it's not doing well in any of the screen tests that they've done, and they're selling out the idea that because of a certain virus causing a certain flu causing a problem, they're going to delay it until November, but speculation leans more or less to reshoots for a redirection, narratively speaking, for the entire script.
Well, they're actually delaying like almost every movie for the next month or two until around June.
Because most of the movies are woke.
Well, that and also because they know they're going to because of the coronavirus. So there's like going to be like Disney and everybody. So there's going to be this time open period where a lot of not well advertised movies might do well.
Yes. I mean, realistically, you would think that Outward would be suffering box office wise, but
not that it matters.
Not that it matters. I'd rather call it Outward a lot better because basically they were trying to focus on an out of one particular person. But Onward being a prime example for not a massive loss in revenues overseas, they did make some money. Yeah, it wasn't
honestly,
huge,
though,
but they did make some money.
This coronavirus is going to do well for streaming services. So Netflix actually has an opportunity to capitalize on this and push to the front line some of its independent movies.
I really would see Disney going whole hog on their Disney Plus venture.
I mean, yes.
They don't have enough.
No,
what do you mean they don't have enough?
They have a lot that's already created, but it was meant for a movie, yes. Netflix puts in a pretty good amount of money to create their own independent shows.
And that's what I mean is if people are staying indoors, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to play games. They're going to watch movies.
Yeah.
From the comfort of their home.
And you can see the streaming services is more or less the way of the future. It's a lot more easier to maintain as well as you can.
You know what this reminds me of? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen Sequest? Has anybody ever seen Sequest?
Do you mean the one with the talking fish and the guy that killed himself?
No, he's still alive.
The boy? No, he's dead.
Oh, the boy's dead. Oh, but I mean, I thought you meant Roy. I thought you meant the important guy, Roy Scheider.
No, he's not that important because he was replaced. Remember?
Yeah, and that's why the show failed.
Regardless, it lasted longer, just as long without him as it did with him.
Oh, that's true. But it doesn't matter. But there was an episode where Lucas found a robot he fell in love with. It was a artificial intelligence that was, and 2 people left in the world, and they were survived. They would not go outside and meet each other because the computer itself, for some stupid reason. So someone predicted this.
Yeah, so did Futurama. But
Well, Sequest did it first.
yeah, well, robosexual was a thing by the time we got to Futurama. Seacrest may have brought the idea out there, but no one really thought that was
Seacrest.
show. Seacrest.
You see Seacrest.
Yeah,
He did say
right,
Seacrest.
God damn it, Rogue.
Gotta love it. But no, really, well, he took we had a hiatus of a Sparky, so I got to do something for you guys.
Oh.
But no, I mean, we've already seen what could possibly be. It's more or less, will it come to that?
Mm-hmm.
We can only hope.
I hope so. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it because they're going on cruise ships still. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a second cruise ship held off, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
Gee, who would have thought a cruise?
Actually,
ship
technically a
affected
third
people
one
that
because there was the
place
one.
because
There was
of
the
these?
Diamond
Oh, wait a
Princess. Then
minute.
there was the one in Japan. Then there's a second one off the coast of California.
Yep.
Oh wait, the people since the 1600s were thinking this.
So
Oh.
it's been an ongoing idea. It hasn't changed. The only thing is changed is the likelihood. We're getting closer and closer to the likelihood. Once we get over to that threshold,
Yay for
it'll
being white
be
and black.
pretty much. I mean, I'd probably be half black with white. You'll probably be the half white with black.
What
and,
about
you know.
Hispanics? Is this affecting them at all?
For what?
Coronavirus.
There's a few infected, but they're mostly non-indigenous.
No, Hispanics. I didn't say people living in.
I'm sure.
No, there's a few people who are infected who are from Hispanic. You can get it. It's the ones who are being affected highly, which is non-indigenous.
Yeah, true. I'm just wondering, because we only have a couple black and white people being affected. It looks like.
Yeah, again, we can get it. It's what happens afterwards. The numbers change.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's speculation there's 2 strands from China. The Chinese believe that there's 2 separate strands, and that's questionable all the way through. They're just trying to save face. Well, not really save face. They're trying to avoid the factor that might be that they may have genetically created a disease that was accidentally released that was very effective against Chinese.
There's a rumor that their prime minister might be affected right now.
Not much of a rumor when it's true.
Oh, he is infected. Goody. Bye, fucker. I mean, so
wow.
Hey.
Wait, Xi Jinping is affected?
Xi Jinping is infected with the coronavirus. There's a rumor going. I thought it was a rumor still, but
no, not Winnie the Pooh.
But the rumor would have the more rumor is there an antidote for it?
Oh,
and
bother!
Does he have
it? Is his wife infected? Oh God, Pooh! What are we gonna do?
Oh, get another one. He doesn't care.
So, somebody get Jim Cummings on here to do the Pooh voice.
But again, remember, and you have to go with it, but highly speculative that it is likely that he has it. Again, he's in amongst with a population that it's
whether he survives or not is the question.
Thanks for not infecting me.
Okay, you're. Who would be Tigger then?
Who would be Tigger?
Who would be Tigger, Piglet, and Rabbit?
Okay, out of the entire combination, realistically, Tigger is like would be either Obama or Donald Trump. They give no fucks for the most part.
I was thinking Putin, but Putin killed the tiger, so I'm gonna say Obama.
Wow.
Well, the Invisible Man did very well. It actually did pretty well performance-wise. Almost 100 million worldwide.
What? What did?
The Invisible Man.
It apparently wasn't that woke, so. Yeah.
But it's kind
It's
of
supposed to
difficult
be
to
based
make
off a
it
classic
that
book, isn't it?
woke. Yeah, it's kind of hard to make it woke.
So is there the rape scene of the boarding school girls? Is it even suggested?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Wow.
When Rogue says it that way, you know it happened. Oh.
Again, I'm not going to spoil anybody's fun from not going to said movie or finding ways to watch said movie. I just would say, yeah, if you want to watch a movie that's quite close to the actual source material without having something very woke, you may want to, I don't know, take your time to watch it.
Do you want to build a snowman?
No.
Do you want to watch a movie?
Never mind.
Doesn't have to be a woke movie.
Yes, please.
Oh my god.
God damn it.
But no, as well as Disney woke will be infecting Disney Plus eventually. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of interested in their take on Winter Soldier and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
It already looks bad.
I'm not 100% sure because it's not really
No.
following the source material.
It is following the source material, but it still looks bad.
Actually, not because Winter Soldier and Falcon were never a team.
Well,
during the time frame when Falcon was holding the Captain America moniker at the time.
I just never cared. I just really never cared about that whole. I kind of dropped out when they started pulling that shit and they got rid of Captain America and the whole woke Captain America is fucking
A Nazi.
The Nazi, secret Nazi now. Everybody, I just fucking dropped out.
You do realize that that's kind of no longer canon for the most part because
I dropped out. I don't care if it is or not. The fact that they were willing to do that in the first place, I'm just done with comics at this point because they've all decided just to be fucking tards at this point.
Well, that's nothing unusual with comics, but no, I think it's kind of fascinating that they're out for it. What was the Cosmic Cube, or at least a portion of? Well, no, that was basically because at first the creator was like, yeah, we're not going to use the Cosmic Cube as an out, and they ended up using the Cosmic Cube as an out.
No, you caused them the out for, not the Fantastic Four. I thought you said maybe that was.
No, they didn't. Originally, he was not going to use the Cosmic Cube because a lot of the readers who were loyalists said, "You're going to use the Cosmic Cube to get out of this." He was like, "No."
And then he did.
And he turned around and used a portion of the Cosmic Cube to answer the question of how Steve Rogers was manipulated. And technically, it was a clone.
Still don't care.
Regardless of the
factor. They did the clone thing because they know they fucked up.
They did the clone thing because of the fact that the writer had no way to get out of it.
Notice how they always do it's a dream or it's a clone whenever they make a bad decision.
And everybody in the comic book world hates the factor that it's a dream and it's a clone. If you're going to go with it, go whole hog and completely burn everything down to the ground and start from scratch. Go for it. See who's going to survive after that. But to turn around and give you this bullshit of, oh, it was just a clone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And it's like, then what was the point of making the book?
We were trying to be woke.
No, actually, no. They were trying to be edgy.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, a lot of people viewed it as being woke, and in actuality, the Captain America on the Hydra level wasn't very woke.
I don't know about that because around the time it came out, yes,
see,
that's seen as edgy. It was bad timing.
Well, see, there you go. That's where the problem is. It was a bad time. It may have had a different agenda altogether, but it was done in a way where you have a creator saying one thing to do it an absolutely different thing because they could not figure out a way out. It's the same thing that happened with Chip. had a great potentiality for having a female doctor as a lead. But because of their inexperience in writing or even holding to be a front runner for this kind of title, this franchise,
I think
they're
instead of
just half-assing it.
inexperience, you should use inability. Just my opinion.
Regardless of how you want to word it, it is what it is.
Because he's written plenty of things, and it's kind of always been bad.
Yeah.
So I would say inexperience is not a thing; it is inability. He has plenty of experience. He just,
Again, wording. If we're gonna argue on wording, fine. That's simple. Regardless, the outcome of this is
I'm not
problem.
arguing. I'm just saying.
No. But again, it is slightly a bit of an argument on wordplay, but it's what I do with Nemo.
Wordplay, play.
Yes,
play.
but at the end of the day, they just picked the wrong time for a project that could have been interesting.
I don't
to end up with the same kind of end game that most of the readers who have been staunch readers from the beginning figured out.
Now, I will admit the way they did it in the movie was awesome. That was kind of that was a callback to that, but it was really done really well. That's how you do it well.
And that's why I'm saying this particular TV show, and I've got to call it a TV show, looks interesting. It has some potentiality. It doesn't follow the source material that's already laid out. It's like they're taking the idea and they're restructuring it. So whether it's successful or not, that's all on them. I'm intrigued on the idea of having both the Winter Soldier and Captain America Falcon version working together as a team, one learning how to be a Captain America of today, and the other one who is trying to learn to be, I don't know, an average individual. The weird odd couple story.
The Russians made me do it.
Well, that's basically that's basically the Winter Soldier going forward. The Russians made me do it. Russian programming made me do it. So instead of taking ownership of the factor that, regardless of the programming or not, he did what he did, it takes away from that growing of a character.
Yeah, it does.
So
that is true.
This is a potential here. He's taking ownership of the damage that he's conducted, even though he was programmed by the Russians. You have the Falcon, who is trying to learn to be a Captain America, even though he doesn't want to be one. Both of these actors are not super woke.
Oh, no, I didn't. No.
So this is a very interesting take on a Disney franchise being on a small screen aspect, kind of going, okay, are they staying away from the virtual signal that the social tards are going to try to force, or are they going to give us a proper narrative story going forward that everybody will want to watch? Which could lead to a really good dynamic movie in the future. Because we know that the Disney Plus venture is going to lead into movies.
Mm-hmm.
Feige, as well as Iger, said so. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully Iger in a year will finish having his little grubby fingers and everything, and we can start getting back to actually good movies.
We don't know, because right now we don't even know what. Remember, Iger is the man that is an acquisition man. He just gathers things. He doesn't care what his division is doing, so as long as it's making profit. The moment it stops making profit, he then gets a little antsy about that factor. Henceforth, the whole Kathleen Kennedy factor.
Yes,
It
man,
stopped making
Scrooge.
money.
Yes, man, Scrooge, we're still running.
And he probably, because of the factor that we may not have any volume on his end.
But it's funny when coronavirus. If you, I don't know if how many of you have seen the stock lately in Disney, but it's dropped about since last month around.
Oh yeah, it's dropped steadily because of the factor that not only the acquisition, but the factor that their whole focus of being Chinese market is not doing very well for them.
Oh yeah.
Don't pander to the Chinese. Don't pander to the socialists.
But
Don't
it's like
pander to the
coronavirus came out,
SJWs.
it's really dropped.
Oh yeah, no. Well, not just that, but also Iger stepping down suddenly.
Well, it's not just that either. It seemed like because the initial corona scare, the markets did drop, but then they bounced right back.
This is bounced back only 2%.
Well,
Yeah, no,
this
Disney's got a
being
large.
one particular case, I'm talking about all other markets. I'm talking about the Dow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
But if we focus just on the Disney market alone, there's a lot more problems to the Disney shares market itself because you have no Iger, you have a guy that is questionable who's never been in charge of anything except for the parks and rides, and he's notorious to be the most cheapest individual to destroy parks and ride fun. So there's that scare. We also know that Iger is there until 2021, so he's behind the scenes. So technically, there's a little bit of who's controlling what now.
Welcome back, Smosh.
Hey.
So.
Oh, here's a good story too about the new Disney CEO. By the way, guess what he did recently?
What did he do recently?
He sold his house in California, his 20 acres, for $3.5 million.
Did he move or just sold it?
He sold it and on a loss.
Yeah, most likely he's moved.
I mean,
Need to get the fuck out of Dodge, or in this case, call me California.
Give it to Simone. She hasn't been here that long.
I had to disappear just to come back.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Disney stuff is probably going to get a lot worse before it gets better, and it probably will be due to the coronavirus, which is probably why they put this other guy in charge, because he knows how to pinch pennies and save money, which he certainly did. But unfortunately, in the long run, I think it cost them money. Like the whole Disney ride stuff, the Disney Star Wars Galaxy's Edge thing, that's been a huge fiasco. One being the movies, second being the actual park itself. It's just not very good.
Well, they're changing up. They're rebuilding the ride. Instead of doing the mag lift, they're putting it on a track. Essentially, they're putting it on a rail system now.
Yeah, which is a little cheaper, but a little bit more time consuming because you have the manpower to make sure that the.
Wait a minute. What did they have it on before?
A magnet track. Basically, it was floating magnets, and the reason it would break down is because uneven weight distribution, and also there was a weight limit, and the computer would have, if people shifted, it would have to calculate, and if it calculated, it would automatically shut down.
That's surprising because I'm sure. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying that they probably would have figured that out if they had more time to develop, which they didn't have more time to develop because they just wanted to get it open.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad idea. It was an interesting concept. But the problem is that they rushed the hell out of it.
I think what they were trying to do is what they did for the Hollywood Studios Tower of Terror, where it runs along a line embedded in the floor. Though those cars, the elevator cars, are not connected to any tracks. It literally is guided by sensing the line on the ground. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If some debris falls and covers the line, yes, it'll stop. But if it's a matter of shifting weight or anything, that's not going to keep it from getting off of its track.
No.
And it doesn't happen quite often.
But Penn, it uses wheels. It uses wheels. These don't even use wheels. It uses magnets to float.
Oh, that's a problem then.
And the shifting of the people is what causes the problem, or the weight distribution.
Weight distribution. Unfortunately, mag tracks like that, they need to be guided. If you don't have them fastened in a way where they could not be, even if it's over by a few centimeters, is not going to rear off the entire track. In this case, if I remember the way they were supposed to be doing it, I think it's pretty close to free floating.
Yes, the problem is the shifting. People while they're in the ride, they shift and move and all this, and the computer can't calculate fast enough to keep up with it, and therefore causes an error, and it just snaps off. It doesn't really snap off. It just the ride, it just says error, and slowly shuts off, and that's so people don't get hurt because if it automatically just shut off, they would drop to the ground and jar people. But it actually just error, turn off, possible danger for riders.
Yeah,
and it is because it just can't keep up, and Disney doesn't want to put that out that's why the ride's shutting down is because of an error because it's like, okay, people are in danger, shut off ride. They don't want to put that out, but that is exactly the problem with this ride.
well, that's what happens when you have new technology and you're not taking your time to do a bit of research behind it.
Well, and
Just
my biggest concern is why the fuck are you putting people on magnets that powerful, and then all of a sudden their weight is shifting it off balance.
Well, they're electromagnets, which means they only
Again.
magnetize when you run the electricity through them.
Again, why are you putting?
because
Why are you having people sit on electromagnets?
It's cheaper. It's a cheaper product, but it's an expensive product that you can put in. I mean, look
More
at the
concerned about health concerns. I don't want my ass to grow like 3 times as big because I'm sitting on an electromagnet.
It might kill cancer though too. You never know.
Yeah, it has no actual effect to the actual human body in that it does make the equipment run a little bit more easier. The less amount of maintenance is needed because you don't have a lot of the moving parts. Problem is the human factor.
Time out. No, I've got to bring something up. Ben, are you trying to say your ass is made out of a ferrous type material?
I'm not confirming or denying.
Basically, her answer is yes.
Yeah.
All of the above.
But yes, the reason they wanted to use it because 1, it was a cool gimmick, and 2, yes, it uses less physical materials, whereas it uses more it does use more electricity, but in the long run, it's cheaper because you don't have to replace those materials for
Correct.
repair. However, there is one problem. This technology was kind of just coming out within the last few years, and wasn't expected to be ready for until probably around 2025, 2030. Yep. And Disney was like, nope, it's ready now. And it's like, yes, it's ready if you don't use the people in the ride. But since we're involving people in this, it's not ready.
Yeah, all I have to say is
it needed more time.
Bring back the people movers.
But again, it needs more time.
Well, this was actually the idea they were going to eventually use this on the people movers as well. There was a lot of things they were going to use this on, and also the what is it, Spaceship Earth. They were all going to switch to this, and now that's all been put on hold. They were going to update all these rides with this technology in order to save money, and that's on hold now because it's obviously not ready.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But this is basically Disney doing human testing legally without and rings about it.
Mm-hmm.
This the reason they put it in Star Wars was to help get this off the ground faster, because they weren't ready for essentially human testing.
Pilot testing.
Yeah, and this is so far. I mean, it's worked the way it's supposed to. If there's any problems, but it's not working the way it's supposed to get you through the entire ride.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time.
Sounds like shorter applications of it would be more viable than a longer track until they can get it perfected.
Which is kind of what they're doing. The ride is actually only about like 2-3 minutes long.
Oh no, I don't mean time wise. I mean distance wise.
Oh no,
if the problem is
short. It's very short. Mostly what takes up the time is the theatrical acting of the ride. That's what takes up most of the time. Not the ride, not the distance of the ride itself. I think it's only like 200 feet long, which is almost like half a lap around. I mean, maybe not even that long. So it's very, very short ride.
The problem with the human testing aspect of all this is that if you use the rides and you test it out, or let the people test it out, it creates bad publicity if it stops to work or causes any other side effects.
Oh,
Yeah.
look,
That's
it
true.
already has.
Exactly. So I mean, they may have saved money in this term, but they're gonna lose money in the long term. It's gonna hurt hard. Doesn't help that the Star Wars movies are so bad.
Star Wars was already Star Wars Land was already losing money, so
Yeah.
no one cares. They don't care about that. They just.
I mean,
like,
they already
okay.
kind of save money by recycling old animatronics from other rides that they close.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to redevelop something else. Just take it from another place and reskin it.
I mean, honestly, that area used to be pretty much empty with rides. It was just the Hollywood area, and the only ride that was in there was the Great Movie Ride. Oh no, not the Great Movie Ride. The Hollywood.
No, the Great Movie Ride.
No, they took that out too, but there was another ride. It was like Action.
Not Action Jackson. Don't tell me that they took that out.
The action, no, it was the car action show, whatever it was, and then
Cars
behind Hollywood behind the scenes.
Okay, I'm not.
And they weren't even really rides; they were mostly walkthroughs and sit down and watch a show. And they weren't even, that's actually was losing no money at all, and they were just, and now these rides are actually costing them money, so it's kind of funny. This new park that they've opened is costing them like tremendous amounts of money.
Well, not only that, but they're still supposed to be working on Epcot's refurbishment.
Epcot was in the plans, has been in plans for a while, and that actually will not take up much more time. That's probably going to be done before the.
I wasn't talking about time. I was talking about money.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh, it's weird if you're talking about the ride that I think you're talking about, that it was really unsuccessful.
But here's the thing about Epcot. A lot of the Epcot part that was open was not actually being used for anything. There were like several buildings in Epcot that were just
empty lots. Yes, I know, because they were trying to get other countries on board for sponsorships and stuff like that.
And
countries or company sponsorships. Yes.
And the Nemo ride, which is also a aquarium.
What, Nemo has a ride?
Was in desperate need of repair.
Disney. That actually wait.
That Disney Nemo. Okay, I wasn't too sure if the Australian one ended up getting a ride.
No, but yeah, the Nemo ride was in. I don't. If you ever saw it in person, I saw it last year, and we were looking at it, and the roof was like fucking hanging on by a thread. It was
we got two more people watching, Crisscross and Dr. Hub Tarlick.
Crisscross applesauce.
Cool.
Hi, Crisscross.
Will you make us jump, Crisscross?
Crisscross.
Crisscross X, yeah. Jump.
Didn't one of them get cancer and die?
Right foot, right foot, stomp. Left foot, stomp.
Pretty much.
We're not doing the cha-cha slide, okay?
Tarlac, he seems like he should be back in the playing with the Simpsons.
If current trends continue, there's one movie I know will probably never get a ride. That's that new Pixar movie, Onward. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, I heard.
I think we
there's
just
a ride
talked
for
about
it?
a little
No.
bit.
There's no ride for it, but it's today or this weekend was its opening weekend. It's the lowest selling Pixar movie of all time.
It is one of the most lower, but it is getting it's worldwide is the same cost for the actual production at the moment.
Well, a lot of the topics I've heard was because of the coronavirus, which isn't that unusual because other parts of the world, people are not leaving their houses. Either one, because if you're in China, they won't let you leave your house.
Yeah, no,
they barricade you in.
Yeah,
you're not going anywhere. So that
speaking of barricades. Rogue, you were right.
What?
On?
The buildings collapsing or setting on fire.
Yeah.
Because a hotel has already done that. That was holding corona victims. Unfortunately, many of them lived.
Yeah, but those that didn't survive, that's one less victim. Well, realistically, you can't count what you've already burned up, right?
Yeah, true.
God damn it.
That's what they're starting on here. We don't know how. We only know that 20 died so far, so could be more.
Could be more.
All of a sudden, like 10,000 appear in there, but they didn't die from the coronavirus.
Yeah, I guess those don't count into the deaths. Yeah.
Yeah, they usually don't, especially if you those Chinese or Iranian numbers. If you burn them, you can't count.
Oh
them.
my God, that was amazing to hearing that the Iranian prime minister and elected officials were getting affected and infected and dying.
Well, one,
I mean,
they are in close contact with the Chinese, so that's the big one too. Two, they're close cousins to the Chinese, which is another problem.
What's the saying? Lay down with dogs, you get fleas.
Something
It's
like that.
not the Iranian leadership, their elected government issue. It's heard that the
Bless you.
clergy
Thank you.
has actually has it now. Who are the real power?
Yeah.
And they're really sick. So there's a good possibility that the religious right, or whatever you want to call them, there might not be around much longer.
No, and that's where it comes back down to. You're going to be seeing some new changes in leadership.
And all it took was a worldwide virus.
Yeah.
Well, a worldwide virus.
real
We can't really call it a
change.
pandemic at the moment because we can challenge that.
Oh no, that's not the ride.
Well,
that's not the ride. I don't think that's the ride. Infallible.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I would like to see what the epidemic, how the regime change goes about. Because is it going to be like a fight, or is it going to be like a slow, positive change due to the virus's outbreak?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
That's what I think is fascinating. We get to see this in our lifetime.
Yeah. So
We've only
right
had
now, this entire thing is done some positives, which is kind of hard to give good fist bump to a virus, but it's increasing the amount of cleanliness that the average individual should be holding.
I do wash my hands more frequently.
Yeah, because of the fact that we become lazy up to a certain point, and then that's basically what happens. So you start thinking that, oh, well, viruses are under control. Everybody's got their shots, blah, blah, blah. This thing pops out of nowhere. Now everybody's very cautious with how they conduct themselves, which is nice for a change.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if we'll go back to the old shake hands with gloves type deal thing. Like,
yeah, I know. I mean, I haven't lost that habit. Most people think
You wear gloves?
I wear gloves.
Nice.
I do during the winter, but during the summer, I think I'm going to get me some nice cotton ones or some cotton with lining inside. We'll see. How about the rest of you?
I probably won't do the gloves, just because, I mean, if you have, like, hand sanitizer and stuff, that'll work just fine.
You say that now.
I mean,
say
I
that
might.
now,
I don't know.
but in the next couple of years, I don't know. I might change my opinion. I mean, I did go out and buy a bunch of those silicone gloves. So,
I
like,
wonder if we'll go back to where women don't shake hands because of this, because that's happened too during plague times.
Yeah.
Well, then that also means no kisses on the cheek either.
Except from your loved ones.
I don't know if my loved ones have the virus. I'm not kissing cheeks.
Oh, the whole plague phenomenon, the traditions behind the plague, or at least after plague, what was eventually abandoned because of the fact that it was considered outdated and no longer required because of the amount of medical technology and advancements that we've achieved, and yet we're still susceptible to a lot of these unusual diseases because of pure stupidity and I forget. I can't even say the word. Hubrisness. Thank you.
Speaking of which, Italy locks down 16 million people who to contain coronavirus. So they just quarantined 16 million people.
Yeah, also the Pope doesn't have the virus. Whoopee.
I'd like to see Italy try to enforce that.
Well, you'll see it.
Hold on. Wasn't it Italy?
There was a small contingency that eventually joined up with the Nazi Party. The guy was named something. I can't remember. Something to do with mooses.
Eni?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Mussolini, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Wasn't it Italy that basically said, "No, we're not gonna suspend travel. If you want to come, come." And 2 days later, now they have an outbreak, and now all of a sudden, lockdown.
Let's put it this way: the Italian government has been changing their ideas pretty much on a whim. Not only did they do it, one of the local, I think it was I know it was the EU convention based around climate change and that, where the Italian representative pretty much told Thunberg, go back to school.
Yeah, basically.
Italy is now.
Yeah, they're fucked, yes, but how fucked is questionable. At least they're not as fucked as Greece, where they're still trying to figure out how to eat.
I might have fucked up, yes.
It's back.
So,
Wiki snippet. Remember that movie Idle Hands? Many teenage boys' hands weren't idle when it came to Jessica Alba
Abbott for that movie. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
God damn it.
Idle Hands is the devil's playground. You should know that.
So we had Reefer Madness and Idle Hands.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you mix the two?
Assholes have to help assholes, right?
Basically, that seems about right.
All right. I know we're having a good stroll along with conversations and the topic, but we have been going for about 3 hours, and it is about time to go ahead and start winding things down.
Oh, you just want to tell people, shut the fuck up and do your own things. Got it.
Okay. I do want to ask before we wind down there. For everyone, I know we're in different parts of the globe here, but have any of you guys had any outbreaks of coronavirus in your area?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yes.
Not here yet.
Okay. We had one yesterday, and then today we have 3. So it's probably gonna go up to like 6 tomorrow. So yeah, and they all came from that Princess cruise.
Yep.
So
that was the weird thing about America. We had like 11 total. Like everyone else was pretty on this half the globe, and then we had these cruise ships come in.
Yeah, there's 2 dead, 12 confirmed cases in Florida. Yeah, over 15 cases linked to Florida residents.
Yeah.
I love out in the boonies, so I don't have to worry about it too much.
Oh, you will soon enough, because the people are going to panic and they're going to head out to the boonies. And
yeah, they're gonna bring the disease.
We have shotguns.
Well, that's good, but you still don't know who's got it. You don't know.
All I want to put out there is a reminder.
Don't fuck up. Because if you do fuck up, you're going to have to answer to me.
Oh, no, I think you guys have one.
Thanks for stopping by.
Well, thanks for everyone who did stop by and join us in the conversation. This wonderful crew of people I got on this panel: Jim Max, Available File, Panina, Samaj, and Rogue.
I'm glad
you
I'm
guys,
not that wonderful.
You guys do make this fun. It makes it interesting. We might butt heads every now and then, but it is what it is. And as far
you guys
as
butt heads and are butt heads.
Yeah. And for everyone in the chat, thanks for stopping by. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It's always fun doing these shows.
If you don't hit that like button, Sparky will get corona.
Oh, please hit that dislike button. I want to.
Die, corona.
As far as the stuff on the channel, there is one more Sparky and Saw One video I've got to get out. I don't know if I'm gonna do it today or next week. And McKenna Tuesdays.
I got a great option for you. Give that over to Panina, and we'll see how long it'll take.
Wait, do what?
Yeah, no. McKenna Tuesdays will be coming back fairly soon, within the next week or two, I believe. Next week or the week after is when we're gonna start that back up. We'll be starting up.
Not this week, but the week before.
Yeah. For everyone out there, please check out JNF Network. You can see content from myself, Rogue, Penn, Dragonup, Nemo. They're all a good bunch of people to watch and have enlightenment as you watch their conversations, which do get pretty interesting.
We have great, interesting arguments, and we all have our unique personalities. I'll give it that.
I have no personality.
Penn is lacking all the uniqueness, but she's
yeah,
she's an awesome person.
He says through gritted teeth. What if you're shilling GNF? Then what are we doing tomorrow, Rogue?
Tomorrow being what? Monday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Monday has the TRPC, which is happening with myself and Nemo. We'll be covering a lot of different things. I'm going to be focusing tomorrow's show based off of what I've just explained to you guys here in the movie world, and probably where we're going to be seeing movie industry going in the next few years to come. As for the gaming portion of our stuff, we haven't kind of committed to anything as of yet. We're still working on the behind the scenes for a episodic group stream, which will take some time to produce.
Right, and because the idea from our beloved own Dragon.
Yes. Whereas tomorrow you guys could probably play Uno if you so desire to frustrate me.
I won't be streaming that. I'll play, but I will not be streaming that.
When it comes down to that, there's only one person who ends up streaming that portion of that world would be, I don't know, this demon-like creature who watches his computer spurgs out while it happens and then has other people call him Boomer, in which I enjoy every moment of it. So yes, ultimate chaos.
Let's see. With that, we also have some mods. You can you stream every now and then with Gaming and Yelling and a couple other people, don't you?
Yep. Yeah, so check out Gaming and Yelling.
Yeah. Go over there. Gaming's pretty fun and quirky at times, especially with some of the streams he does.
I don't know. Are they pretty gamey?
They're pretty gay. But I mean, yeah.
pretty gay.
Okay,
and,
so gay.
But are you?
I get it.
But are
gay.
you late and gay?
I think he's usually on time.
I think that was a room full of crickets there.
Yeah. Never mind.
And last but not least, Infallible Fowl, thank you for jumping on and talking with us. I know you've been reserved for most of the time, but it's always interesting to have new people on.
There's a lot I could argue about, so I've kind of tried not to, just because it would throw off the subject. But
it's whatever. It's whatever. We strive for chaos.
We don't have subjects. We just argue.
Yeah, we strive for chaos. But no, Infallible Fowl, you can watch him on Redman Radio. And him and Vamp and Alex.
Are they red men?
I don't know.
I'll let the whole concept of Red Man Radio if you're not a red man.
I'll let Fowl explain that one if he wants. I just figured I'd do a courtesy.
See,
I'm
there
blue
we go.
and covered in feathers, so.
See, that doesn't explain the. See, I get Rainbow Man media maybe, but Red Man just kind of goes. You got to be at least the shade of red. Like for example, the Blue Man group, they're all blue.
That is a little strange because his avatar is blue as well. So.
See.
I mean, it might work for people who are colorblind. Hi, Dragon.
That's a lot of false advertising there. I want you guys to follow the proper formula. Advertise correctly. But nonetheless, I get the contradiction.
But no, once again, thanks everyone for joining us. And with that, let's go ahead and cue up the outro music and let's call this a day.
Bitches!
Forgive me. I am a worm. I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Well, with that, take care, everyone.